Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Shut Your Mouth Lounge with me, Alex. And today I've got with me Addy the Hero and Pink Sparkle Puff, as it has been for the past couple episodes. And today we'll be quickly just going over Wrestlemania, what are our favorite and least favorite genres of gaming, and then of course hitting the what we did last week. So this should be a shorter podcast this week. So, first we'll start off with, I suppose, we'll probably hit the WrestleMania topic first because it's the only one that doesn't have anything to do with gaming.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
Yeah. So, the WrestleMania card, I'm looking over it and it looks, well, there are parts of it that I'm like, I'm depressed this is happening. Most prominently, Daniel Bryan is actually getting back in the ring, which, I mean, I guess that's been building up for a while, but again, like, unless they fake the injury, which, if they did fake the injury, that's way too much forethought for WWE. I'm just cynical about dragging Daniel Bryan into the ring until he dies, you know? Because WWE is definitely a part of the wrestling industry in terms of a lot of these guys are going to keep going into the ring until they die. And it's not Terry Funk levels of bad, but Undertaker and Bryan are getting thrown in there, even though they clearly shouldn't be in there. And, I don't know, I don't know too much about the situation, so I suppose maybe it won't be that bad, but still, I'm a little bit cynical.
If nothing else, we will get a new model in the new game, at least.
I suppose we will, so we won't get long hair Bryan anymore. I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian's grown his hair out at this point now anyway, so it's like the formerly outdated model is now updated.
Oh.
Alright then. We got Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, so I assume it turned out to be a work, the whole thing of Lesnar trying to hold the title hostage and not show up for shows. That was a work.
I believe so.
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, we run into this issue every time of we're three guys that don't watch WWE anymore because it's shit. So none of us really know that much about what's going on. Yeah, Brock Lesnar, always unhappy to see Brock Lesnar still has a career. And Roman Reigns, like, I know Roman Reigns is one of those guys who at this point everybody hates him except for a very vocal minority that fucking loves him. And I'm stuck in this situation where I don't hate him, I don't love him, but I don't like him. Because
I'm in a similar position.
Like,
go ahead.
I don't flip out at seeing his presence, but to me he is kind of a charisma vacuum, like really badly. And his wrestling just isn't interesting to me. And he isn't an actively bad worker. He won't ruin a match for me. But I have no interest in watching him work. I never have. And I'm not going to say that he's 5 moves of doom. Like, I know that's the kind of internet way to go back and call anyone a bad wrestler. I'm not going to call Roman Reigns a 5 moves of doom wrestler. It's just that Roman's style, which is mostly, from what I've seen, just a lot of hard strikes, just doesn't interest me. And maybe he's changed a lot over the years. I haven't watched him since about 2014 when he had just gotten out of the Shield era. So, for me, he doesn't entertain me.
Yeah. I think Roman, he's not going to improve a match just by being in it, because he's a moderate worker, and I don't think he's capable of rising to another level, unless he's in someone in there that can actually bring him up to their level as well. Because he had fantastic matches with Styles and I believe Cena as well, which is remarkable because Cena as well is not a very talented worker or individual inside the ring, but they were able to do some pretty cool stuff.
Cena has in the past displayed, though, that when he feels like he should really put on a big match, he can, absolutely.
And then he does a Hurricane Rana.
He tries a Hurricane Rana.
Yeah.
And
then lands on his neck.
The incredible thing to see with Cena to me is all the great matches he's had over the course of his career. And I don't know how bad it is now because he's a semi-retired wrestler, so I guess the fans are probably less tired of him. But how the fans would blame every single good match Cena ever had on his opponent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Particularly anytime he went against Punk, and I don't know about you guys, but Punk post-2011 was not a good worker.
No, I think he was alright throughout 2011. It was during his championship reign that he started to go downhill because, he didn't have to do much anymore because he was already the top guy.
Basically, yeah, basically.
I've only seen people past 2011 because that's when I started watching wrestling, so I can't really comment on Punk before that.
Let's see. The next match on the card is AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke.
Whatever. I should note that seeing Nakamura and AJ Styles, to me, for someone who hasn't watched wrestling since 2014, hearing about AJ Styles and Nakamura wrestling for the WWE Championship, to me, is fucking surreal. Because AJ Styles seemed like a TNA guy through and through, who would either wrestle in Japan or wrestle in TNA and would never wrestle for WWE. So the fact that he's WWE champion right now, just plain weird. Nakamura not only wrestling for WWE, but being at one of their top guys. I was one of those rare guys who was actually trying to somewhat follow Nakamura when he was actually wrestling in Japan. So to me, that's weird to see a Japanese guy so high in WWE, especially at the championship level. Because, well, partially I hate to say it, and I'd hate to accuse WWE of something that might not be true, but WWE is not very fond of minority workers. They tend not to get long WWE. They tend not to spend too long at the top. I mean, Rock, Mark Henry, and Booker T are still the only black world champions that WWE's ever had, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. And I mean, some people would argue that Rock isn't even black because he's half, but
but those people are stupid.
Yeah, that's a really stupid argument because he's still half.
Yeah, like I hear that argument all the time, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Just because his skin isn't dark enough for your taste doesn't make him not black.
Yep. The next match on the card is Kurt Angle's corpse and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. So
do you want to point out every problem that there is, or just leave it as that?
Yeah, again, we're running into the issue of WWE shuffling a corpse into the ring.
Yeah.
And then there's also Kurt Angle.
Has had maybe 3 matches since returning to the WWE, and they've all been downright terrible.
Well, yeah,
he's had matches.
He's a drugged up mess. He's definitely not all there. And Ronda Rousey, I'm interested to see what Ronda Rousey does in the business. I feel like there's going to be a conflict with Ronda Rousey because she is supposed to be a wrestling fan through and through. And, like, she's supposed to be, like, basically riding the coattails of Roddy Piper, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there'd be that there to make me think that she'd wrestle like an actual wrestler. But the fact that she was, UFC Women's Champion makes me think that, Hunter is going to tell her to go in there and just throw lots of punches, and finish with an armbar, which is the same thing that Brock Lesnar has been doing ever since he returned from his stint in UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess Lesnar threw suplexes instead of punches, but
Yeah. Rousey will win with a Brock lock.
Probably. That's probably what they're going for. It's good to see Hunter and Stephanie work because I don't know, but I don't know about Stephanie's ring work. I've never actually seen her wrestle. I just know that I am a fan of Stephanie's work outside the ring, so I think it's always good to see her involved in this stuff. And Hunter's always good. Except he's kind of old now and isn't as good as he used to be, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, we got...
It's hard to still be good when you're old unless you're Terry Funk.
Yep. Terry.
But especially it's Terry Funk against the, the round freaking body of some bull.
I was about to say Terry Funk versus the Grim Reaper.
Might as
Terry
well be.
Funk's going over.
Yeah, Terry Funk hits the pile driver, and the Grim Reaper's like, he eludes me again. I'll get you someday, Funk. Okay. The next match on the card is Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Which, again, it's weird to see Ric Flair's daughter be the top of the women's division. It's weird to see, you know, a chick like Asuka, again, who is on the top in Japan, be big in WWE. And the weirdest thing of all is the fact that the women's division actually matters.
I know, it's great, right?
Yeah, it is. It's really surreal. And, like, it's weird hearing the news where people are like, the women's division is the only part of WWE nowadays it's worth watching. Because I remember, like, 2011, 2012, 2013, when women's matches were the bathroom break.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hate the women's wrestlers as much back then as most people do. There were a few I liked. I'd say that most of them were terrible, but there are a few I liked, like Natalya and I think Summer Rae. And who else? Oh, I always liked Layla, but she was she was part of the problem, definitely. And now they've...
Layla was definitely a solid part of that Terrible Divas era, but I unabashedly loved Layla's performances as well.
Yeah, Layla was like, she was one of the basic, like, the model divas, where she wasn't a wrestler, she was a model that fucking dipshit, what's his name?
Yeah.
John Laurinaitis. Like, John Laurinaitis, it turned out, had actually found several of the divas just going through modeling magazines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Layla was definitely a case of that, but she was the best of them. Which isn't a high bar to jump over, but she made it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she'd be competing for the title of the best model diva with Alicia Fox, wouldn't she? Which
I don't know if Alicia Fox was a part of that model thing.
Oh, she absolutely was. I know for sure that she was found in a modeling magazine by John Laurinaitis.
Okay.
Let's see. We've got Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which, okay, excluding the fact that Daniel Bryan is basically dead. Well, I keep saying that. I need to... Daniel Bryan's not as dead as Kurt Angle, I'll say that.
Yeah.
And Shane McMahon, who is, like, what, 50 years old now and really badly out of shape?
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
Shane doesn't even have his old strength to rely on, the old diving off the top of everything strength. He can, because it's the PG era, he can only wrestle. He can't dive off things anymore. So what can Shane do?
Well, what does Jeff Hardy do? Because they're pretty much the same person.
Right, but Jeff was a wrestler to begin with. Jeff still has, like, moves like the Swanton Bomb and the Twist of Fate. Shane he does an elbow off the top of the Titantron, or he does an elbow off the Hell in a Cell.
I will say that he did do a elbow drop off the top of this Hell in a Cell WrestleMania or two back.
Oh, really?
When he was the Undertaker, yeah.
I forgot that Shane wrestled against the Undertaker.
I did too.
That is going to be weird, because when they gather up the tally of, like, Undertaker's, 30 WrestleMania matches he's had, and the great opponents he's had, it's going to go like Triple H, HBK, Triple H, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Shane McMahon, John Cena. Shane McMahon?
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the others. I don't know, I'm still kind of a fan of Shane in that awkward kind of hardcore way. Where, I don't condone what happened with your hardcore stuff. I think a lot of it was really stupid. But I think that if we are going to talk about the hardcore stuff, I think Shane was one of the best guys in it.
Absolutely. And for a guy who wasn't even trained to be a wrestler, I don't believe, he actually wasn't terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't horrible. Like, he wasn't anything special in terms of wrestling, but most of the hardcore guys weren't.
Yeah. And
I think it's always the funny thing with Shane, though, that Shane was just the boss's son, and we don't know how much Vince forces them into the business. I'd assume he doesn't. But the fact that Shane was just the boss's son and could probably have worked any position in the company he wanted, that he chose to be a crazy ass hardcore wrestler, hitting people with trash cans and steel chairs and diving off of the Titantron is crazy to me. But I don't know. I'll like Shane for that purpose, definitely. I don't think he has much of a place wrestling nowadays. He has a place definitely as like one of the business guys, as the GM or whatever.
Yeah,
I think he is a GM, isn't he?
he's like the commissioner of SmackDown.
Ah,
Yeah, the always arguing McMahon family. But the issue with this match is just that they're being put up against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And Kevin Owens is supposed to be one of the top guys in the company right now, isn't he?
Not
not sure.
Oh, well, he was definitely on top for a good bit with his feuds against Cena and Jericho.
Yes.
Yeah, but then Jericho went and fought Kenny Omega, and that sucked away Owens' star power. He got off ripping off of Jericho.
No,
No.
Jericho went to Japan way after Kevin Owens declined.
Yeah, even if that did happen immediately afterwards, it still wouldn't have mattered for the push that Kevin Owens got, because wrestlers working in other companies is kind of like different canons, you know.
Yeah.
Anytime Jericho has wrestled in Japan is pretty much non-canon for WWE purposes, because WWE does not own any of the old Japanese companies, and therefore they are considered non-canon. Things that happen in WCW or ECW are canon because WWE owns them now, and sooner rather than later WWE is going to own TNA, in which case everything that happened in TNA is going to be canon. But nothing that happened...
I wait for Bully Ray or for Bubba Ray to run in as Bully Ray then.
Well, they'll probably run a whole thing where sometimes he'll just have different names. In the same way that with WWE, sometimes you'll see, like, Kevin Nash is referred to as Kevin Nash, but we still acknowledge his Diesel era, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the video games, you'll usually get two separate Kevin Nashes, one for the WWF Diesel era and one for his WCW Kevin Nash era. But yeah, we got...
Also, I'm pretty sure that the Dudleys are retired at this point, so
Yes, they are.
there won't be Bullied Ray problems.
Probably not. They'll probably still have Bully... Like, once they get the TNA old video library, then they'll probably make it where in the WWE games you can have Bubba Ray and Bully Ray. I don't know how much difference there actually was, but they could make it, you know, whatever, why not?
A shirt, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And also probably a gimmick. Like, probably some moveset differences too, because I think that's when Bully Ray or Bubba Ray, whatever we feel like calling him, started using a lot of the moves he's known for now, like the full Nelson bomb, I think he called it. But
Yeah, but he's been doing that one forever, so I don't think there would be moveset changes.
right, but he did. I think there was some other finisher that he started using once he was in TNA and started wrestling singles.
Possibly, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, the issue is the thing. I would think the thing is more so, would the games feel like Bully Ray or Bubba Ray is a big enough guy to deserve two spots, rather than, well, to bother to make Bully Ray, rather. Because, as we've talked about before, there is no difference between, you know, whether or not a character is holding a slot or something. And it's silly to pretend it is. Like, another version of a character is just a free character. The question isn't whether or not, you know, he would get a Bully Ray. The question is simply whether or not they even feel like making a Bully Ray outfit. But that's a whole nother topic. We veered off real bad.
But now that the thing is, now that Devon is working with them behind, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Devon seemed like more of a man of the business than Bully Ray or Bubba Ray did, so it wouldn't surprise me.
So they could, in theory, if they ever go back to New Day being a cult, have Reverend Devon manage them.
New Day is not going to go back to being a cult.
Yeah, they're not going to go back to being a cult, and they're not going to go back to being the Nation of Domination. I don't know why you want this. Are you like really racist against black people, Laddie?
No, I just think that if Devon would need to work on TV again, then that would be a thing to do because New Day has been boring forever, basically ever since they have been.
There's no reason for Devon to go back on TV anymore.
There is no reason.
That's true.
There's no reason for New Day to do that, because New Day does make a degree of money for WWE with their merchandise sales and Xavier Woods' goofy YouTube channel.
Do they still?
I think so. The YouTube channel is definitely still going, and Kofi and Big E are definitely still a big part of it. Cause I don't know how much kayfabe is enforced on Xavier's channel. I think it's not enforced very much at all. But Kofi and Big E are both definitely a huge part of it. But then you kind of get into the debate of like, are Kofi and Big E a big part of it because they're a tag team with Xavier? Or are they a big part of it because the three of them probably have to travel together in the same car, so they probably wind up developing to be good friends just because they have to spend all their time together? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
thinking they were friends beforehand because I know when the New Day first initially started, remember it got canceled like immediately, and Xavier was always lobbying for it to get back on TV because they were only doing the New Day gig at house shows for like months on end.
Right. I remember that, and everybody was getting hyped up because they thought it was going to be a big thing on TV when it showed up.
Yeah.
And it was, but in a way they did not expect.
Yeah. It was a complete failure at first.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know, what little I know of backstage seems to paint Kofi as being the kind of guy who's friends with everyone he meets.
Yeah. But he was friends with CM Punk, so yeah, he can probably be friends with anybody.
Yeah, but he and CM Punk were also travel buddies circa 2010, I want to say.
Probably earlier than that, because, I don't know, Kofi debuted in what, 2008?
Yes. He and Punk probably would have debuted around the same time.
Yeah.
The difference is
Punk was like 2006 and Kofi was 2007 or 8, and I believe they were both on Raw in, I want to say it was 2008, maybe 2009.
Yeah,
but that's probably when they were road buddies.
Yeah, probably, because that would have been around the time that CM Punk had basically no gimmick. He wasn't even straight edge yet. And that would have been around the time they tried to push Kofi as being Jamaican.
Yeah.
I mention it every time, but I just fucking love that Kofi is a guy they keep pushing as being foreign. Oh, he's Jamaican. Oh, he's African. He's a dude from Boston.
Yep.
But back to the WrestleMania card. Yeah, we got Bryan and McMahon versus Owens and Zayn. I think it's a little bit of a ridiculous match because Owens and Zayn are both very active, very young wrestlers. And Bryan and McMahon are both kind of... Well, Bryan's young, but his body's already destroyed. And McMahon's an old dude. So, I mean, I think the match is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the fact...
I don't think the match will be any good, and I haven't liked any of the build-up going into it, so I have very low expectations for it all around.
All I know of the match is that Owens... I think Owens teased Sammy going back to being El Generico if they lose or something. So...
If they did, that would be the best thing that would ever happen to Zayn's career. I guarantee you. I'm not saying that like in a sarcastic kind of I hate the Sami Zayn gimmick way. What I'm saying there is that El Generico would make way more money and way more popularity with the crowd than the Sami Zayn gimmick ever would. Because El Generico is an actual gimmick.
Yes, absolutely.
The kids would fucking love El Generico. I mean, we've talked about it before on the forum, but the fact that they brought Sami Zayn in and just made him Sami Zayn and not El Generico is mind-boggling because El Generico is a great gimmick to sell to the kids.
The development team was under different leadership back then because, things didn't really start to change until around a little after Finn Balor and Hideo Itami got there because, they were kind of the last of the old NXT breed because, they got all the name changes and whatnot, but once Kevin Owens came around, that's when they started to go in the more indie direction. So it's like any hot indie guy coming off and into NXT was usually acknowledged as such, as being that big top indie guy.
Yeah, that
And name changes weren't all that common. They were bringing in the indie guys as they were and not trying to change them into a different WWE mold.
yeah, I definitely remember that being like the kind of the thing that was going on in that era because it was really strange to me that first when they brought in Finn Balor and I didn't know anything about that guy at the time. I was like, okay, I guess they brought in some Irish dude. Who cares? Then they brought in Hideo Itami, but at the time he was known as Kenta, and he was one of the big Japanese workers. So that was weird that WWE brought in a Japanese worker like him. I figured it was like a one-off weird thing. And then they brought in Kevin Owens, El Generico, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura. And it's like, okay, wow, WWE has done a complete 180 regarding the indie workers.
Still Shinsuke.
Uh,
I'm gonna
Shinsuke.
vote. Yeah, Shinsuke comes from Kentucky.
the next match,
Anyway, let's move on.
yeah, the next,
They've got like Ricochet and Adam Cole competing in the ladder match tonight down in NXT, and that should really tell or really paint a picture as to how different NXT is nowadays.
fucking Ricochet? Seriously?
Yep,
When did that happen?
like last week or so,
Holy,
if we go by NXT taping time.
holy shit. Ricochet seems like a guy who would have never came to WWE because that is a guy who can only flip.
Yep.
Which I mean, admittedly, also at the same time when they brought in Neville, I believe, at the time when he was Pac, the only thing Pac would do was flips, and then it turned out he was an excellent technical wrestler and had been hiding it somehow the entire time. But yeah, let's move on to the next match. Miz versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. Well, that actually probably sounds like a good match, maybe to me, but I've never seen Finn Balor work, so I don't know if he'd stink up the place real bad.
The problem here is that triple threats are not particularly well known for being good.
Yeah.
At least 85% of them are downright terrible.
The other problem is that Finn Balor hasn't had a character ever since he debuted. So,
Right, that's more of an out of the ring problem though than an in ring problem. It just makes it where you're not interested in seeing Balor, but he might still be a good worker. I don't know.
Yeah.
from what I saw his Universal Championship match against Rollins, and I mean, I like Balor, but then I didn't really want to watch it. The right middle point.
Well, I don't want to watch any of the matches going on in WWE nowadays, but you know.
But I don't really have much of a problem with Balor. I do find him to be incredibly boring at times, and his matches can feel very samey. And
Same as Zayn. Sorry.
yeah,
Go on.
maybe Zayn. And you've got Rollins in there, who's a great worker. It's like I went from absolutely hating his guts to having him being one of my absolute favorite performers in the company. And then you've got Miz, who is one of the greatest psychological wrestlers of all time. It's like you have all the ingredients for a good match, but it's a triple threat. And it's either going to be great or it's going to bomb terribly.
It's difficult to say. I feel like this is a case where Miz and Rollins are both workers who could be trusted to figure something out here. Because Rollins isn't like, neither of them are necessarily great technical wrestlers, so to speak. But they both focus a lot on having their gimmick and being like a chicken shit heel. So with a triple threat match, I think they could figure out something to have where it would just, get Finn Balor or get Seth Rollins out of the ring temporarily so we can just get two guys wrestling. And then someone else cycles in and, go like that.
Yeah.
I could see them figuring out something. At the same time, like you said, a triple threat is not as entertaining as most any other match type. So, let's see. For the next match, we've got Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal versus Rusev for the United States Championship. And
It's a four-way dance.
yeah,
We can leave it as that.
yeah. I'll take a shot in the dark here and assume that Jinder Mahal and Rusev are both playing up the foreign heel gimmick.
I think Rusev is
Rusev is
supposed to be a
not
grouper or
anymore.
something.
Oh, what the fuck is Rusev's gimmick?
Happy
Rusev
Rusev
Day.
Day.
Happy Rusev Day?
Yes,
Yes.
that's his gimmick.
Like, I don't know how else I can explain it. Kind of
There's-
cut and dried. He's just a happy big dude now.
Yeah, there's pretty much nothing to explain because it's just Happy Rusev Day.
Yeah. And he's got Aiden English as his manager type thing who'll come out and hype up the crowd. So it's like,
Does he do anything since the world winners have not?
well, Simon Gotch was like fired or he left or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Has he done anything other than manage Rusev since then? So we can tell if he has a gimmick or not.
Well, I think
He's always had a gimmick because he's like the opera singer or whatever. Not opera, but
vaudeville.
yeah. So he's just a singer now.
Oh,
It's like that was his original gimmick back in NXT, and he brought it back after the Vaudevillains went under, and now he's managing Rusev. Like he had a very brief rivalry or feud with Ty Dillinger when he debuted, but I don't think it went anywhere, and it kind of ended like after a month.
Aiden English is a guy that I've only ever seen in the video games, so it seems strange to me that you're saying he was a singer, because from what I'd seen of him, which was just vaudevillains, he seemed like his gimmick would probably just be English douchebag. A lesser William Regal.
Yeah, he's not.
Don't diss Regal. He was like the everyman or whatever.
Yeah, English is not a foreign character in any way because I'm pretty sure he's from Chicago.
Oh, okay, that changes things.
Yeah, like he's just a stage performer, basically.
Alright. And Jinder Mahal, I assume, is going with the threatening brown man gimmick.
Yeah, I don't believe he's changed it up since his championship run. He's still the foreign heel.
Yeah, I know that some people, like a very vocal minority, likes to be like talk about how they think Jinder is improved and he's so great now. I still can't have trouble seeing him as anything other than Great Khali's manager.
I have trouble seeing him as anything other than 3MB.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's either Great Khali's manager or 3MB.
or was it up 3MB?
Yeah, and it doesn't help that his gimmick now is basically for evil foreigner or foreign heel gimmick again. And maybe I'm alone in this, but I get really cynical and I get really sick very quickly of foreign heel gimmicks. It always seems like not only cheap and lazy, but also kind of exploiting people's baser fears and baser prejudices, which I don't think is good.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, like, by all means, Iron Sheik was a classic heel, like, arguably the first big heel of wrestling. Well, I suppose he'd be competing with, like, Gorgeous George for that. But, I mean, at the same time, with Iron Sheik, like, and all of the foreign heels of his era, like, it just feels like it ages poorly because it shows kind of an exploitational eras in WWE's history. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
WWE has always been a very exploitative company, by all means. I suppose it's usual for them, but I don't know. It doesn't mean I have to be happy about it by any means.
No, absolutely.
Bobby Roode, I haven't seen much of Bobby Roode's work, but he seems to be a pretty good worker. So, I mean, the thing that bothers me more about Bobby Roode is the fact that he's a face and that he's mid-card.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Like, they did the face turn because the fans like love his theme, which
And
they
nothing
kind of
else,
did the
probably.
same thing with Fandango, like all those years back, and it didn't work out for him. And I don't see how they're thinking that it's going to work out any better with Bobby Roode. You know, it doesn't matter if the fans love and sing along to his theme song. You should still have him go out there and be the egotistical heel that he was meant to play. because just pandering to the crowd the way he's doing, just not working, and it's not interesting, and that's why he's floundering so bad right now. It's because he doesn't really have anything to work with other than his theme song.
It runs into this issue that WWE and several other companies have, where they make the stupid choice of acknowledging a meme, and if a big company acknowledges a meme, the meme is ruined.
Yeah.
But just let it run its course. Do not try to directly exploit it, because people will find out about it, they'll figure it out, and the meme will stop. And it's what happened to Fandango, and it's what will happen to Bobby Roode. Randy Orton, I'm always glad to see Orton work. He's a great guy to see work. Most of the time, I will say that Orton does have the old flaw of you can tell when Orton doesn't give a shit, and when Orton doesn't give a shit, he gets a bit lazy. But generally, I'd say Orton is one of the best workers in the company and has been for like the last 20 years.
Yeah. Since 2002 when he debuted.
Yeah, that's not 20 years, but that is 16. Damn.
Yep.
Nearly 20 years.
Yeah. It is all, of course, a little bit corrupted by the fact that they're wrestling for the United States Championship, which, I don't know about you guys, but I always thought the United States Championship seemed kind of worthless.
Yeah. It's like, I love the Intercontinental title, and I've loved, like, basically any other title that they've ever introduced. I absolutely hate the United States Championship for no particular reason other than I find it to be a boring concept in name and look.
And then there's now a North America Championship in NXT, isn't there?
Yes, there
Yeah,
is.
and that kind of negates the United States Championship because it's like, oh, you're a champion of the United States, and this guy down in developmental is championship of all North America.
Yeah, he has Mexico and Canada. You need to work,
Yeah.
You need to work, Randy. You need to collect Mexico and Canada.
Collect them all.
Yeah, combine United States Championship with the Mexican Championship and the Canadian Championship to get the North American Championship.
Or,
There's a championship crafting system here.
yeah, or sacrifice the U.S. Championship to gain the building material for the European Championship.
Oh, that's a possibility. Yeah. Got to craft them all together to collect all the continental championships to form the world championship.
And then sacrifice that on the altar to gain the universal one.
No. You gotta collect the championships of other planets to form and combine that with the world championship for the universal championship.
Oh.
You gotta get the Mars championship, the Jupiter championship, and you don't want to fight what they got on Jupiter.
Do you get the Mars Championship for Maurice?
Probably. But yeah, the United States Championship, it doesn't have nearly the legacy that the Intercontinental Championship has. The design is ugly. Just going for the United States Championship, calling it just the United States Championship feels uninspired and makes it feel kind of tiny compared to the Intercontinental Championship or the World Championship. And also, maybe it's just weird, maybe it's just to me, but like it seems weird to name championships after like different parts of the world. Because then, like, what's up with the tag team championships? What part of the world do the tag team championships correspond to? What about the cruiserweight championships?
Tag Team Ohio, the Tag Team Championships. Tag Team Championship signal the champions of Tag Team Ohio.
You joke, but I'm...
One tag team championship will represent Florida, the other one Ohio, and on SmackDown we've got Nebraska and Minnesota.
You all joke, but I'm sure that if you looked hard enough through, like, Jinder Mahal's title history, I'm sure in one of the companies he has at some point won the Nebraska Tag Team Championship or something. Because you never know what you get when you go with those small indie companies.
Yep.
Alright, the next match is The Bar versus Braun Strowman and unnamed partner. Someone please explain to me what the fuck The Bar is.
Sheamus and
That's the
Cesaro.
tag team of Sheamus and Cesaro.
Okay, I thought it was going to be two lawyers.
No,
That'd be
they are the bar because they don't set the bar. They are the bar.
That
Genuinely.
is the
That's so freaking stupid.
That is the fucking dumbest. And it's not the good kind of stupid, it's the bad kind of stupid where he just makes you go, huh. It ain't a laughable kind of stupid, it's just a stupid kind of stupid.
It's a joke I would make, is the thing.
Yeah. And let's see, who can we assume is Braun Strowman's unnamed partner? Alexa Bliss?
Yes. Becky Lynch. Of course.
I mean, as much as I love Sheamus and Cesaro, Alexa Bliss is probably a better wrestler than Alexa Bliss is a better wrestler than Braun Strowman, so.
But yeah, apparently rumors say, or at least according to G-Man, and we know G-Man, but apparently rumors say that Rey Mysterio is supposed to be Strowman's partner.
That would make sense. Ray's been doing a lot of work with WWE lately, hasn't he?
Ray's also been doing a lot of steroids, hasn't he?
Right, but WWE is very clearly not as big on their wellness program as they used to be, because Kurt Angle and Jeff Hardy are wrestling for WWE.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
Kurt and Jeff have been wrestling on the Indies and TNA for years because WWE would not let them work for them and do drugs at the same time. Because for Jeff and Kurt Angle, the drugs matter more than the work. Because Kurt is addicted to all kinds of fucking pain pills because guess what? Breaking your neck and then winning the Olympics while breaking your neck is a bit of a painful endeavor.
And Jeff Hardy just gets paid in heroin, so...
Yeah, Yep. But, I like Sheamus. I like Cesaro. I love Sheamus. I like Cesaro. Braun Strowman, never seen him work. He doesn't interest me. He's just a big bearded dude. I don't care. Rey Mysterio, I liked Rey Mysterio's work when he was young, but as he got older, he got slower and he stopped bothering to do what made him special. He stopped being a luchador, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't want to see Rey Mysterio work now because he was already old and broken down in 2011.
Yep.
Yeah, to go back for one sentence back to the bar's name. A name that I saw suggested when that wasn't named to the team of Sheamus and Cesaro that I think would have been at least somewhat better than the bar is Dublin 07. Because Cesaro has this thing going on where he's James Bond.
Why?
And Sheamus. Not sure.
I guess because he's Swedish, right? Or is he Italian? I can't remember.
He's Swedish.
Oh, I said he was Italian the other day while I was talking with somebody. I said he was Italian, so I fucked up. But okay, yeah, I guess.
Actually, he's not Swedish. He's Swiss.
Swiss.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I actually was thinking about the Swiss, anyways. I was just getting their names confused. But yeah,
I figured you were talking about Switzerland anyway, because like Swedish is kind of out there.
Yes, there is a big difference between Switzerland and Sweden, but their names are so similar that I fuck them up anyways.
I confused them as well, so...
And you live right next to them, so it's even worse for you.
I mean, there's a big difference in Hungarian, but in English...
But, yeah. I suppose it's just supposed to be he's Swiss and he's suave, so I guess that makes him a secret agent.
Yeah. Like, they had his entrance, basically be the James Bond intro, where it's like, you know, the inside of the barrel of the gun as James Bond walks across the screen. That's basically how his entrance goes.
Oh.
I don't know if it's the same with Cesaro. I'm pretty sure it is, because I'm pretty sure Cesaro comes out first, and then the lights go out, and Sheamus comes out, and then the lights go on, and everything's bright and white.
Actually, their team entrance, it says lost his entrance up to the freaking ramp, or not the ramp, the part before the ramp, and then things go black, the lights come back on, and Sheamus is behind him.
Ah.
So he still does the gun in the barrel, or whatever, thing.
Okay, that is weird. The next match, Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. I've not seen either of them work again, so I don't quite have a horse in this race. I know that Alexa Bliss is supposed to be one of the best workers in the company right now, and Nia Jax is supposed to be... Is she a monster heel or a monster face?
She's a monster face now.
Okay, yeah, she looks like... It's weird to say this, but like she looks like she has a kind face, I guess. So for her, a monster face gimmick would probably work better.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, so in this match, the only one I know is Mickey James.
What are you talking about?
The only person that I know of that exists is Mickey James, and apparently Alexa Bliss is being managed by Mickey James.
Oh, okay. Really? That's interesting.
Yeah,
I guess it's supposed to be like Mickey James.
look on the forums card, and then yeah, apparently
I
she's
don't,
being managed by Mickey James.
I don't know if that's true or not,
Me
but
neither. That's why I'm
I
saying
also don't
apparently.
keep up with the product because I literally can't with my job. But I'd I'd be surprised if Mickey James actually managed Alexa Bliss at Mania instead of just competing in the Battle Royal,
Yeah,
because it seems like an unnecessary addition to the match.
yeah, it definitely does. And I mean, the thing, WrestleMania generally they try not to bring a person out for 2 matches, unless it's a deliberate case like way back in what WrestleMania 10 when Brett had to wrestle 2 matches because
Yeah,
it was supposed to be a heel.
and 30 as well.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a heel thing where the guy who wrestled him during the second match was a cheat who was exploiting Brett's weakness.
Yeah, because Brett and Owen faced off at 10, and then Brett also went on to defeat Yokozuna. And at
No.
30, it was Daniel Bryan and Triple H. And Daniel Bryan would also go on to beat Batista and Randy Orton.
Oh, okay. Was WrestleMania 10 or WrestleMania 9 the one where Yokozuna beat Hawk Brett, but then Hogan came out afterwards and beat Yokozuna?
That was WrestleMania 9.
Right. And then WrestleMania 10 was supposed to give Brett the victory over Yokozuna that he should have gotten in WrestleMania 9.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll say about this match that I don't know anything about it, but I do know that good on WWE for actually having a women's division now.
Yes, absolutely.
Cedric,
I'm still waiting on the day that Nia Jax will listen to me and wear a Bam Bam Bigelow tribute suit. Maybe pull off a moonsault, but I mean, maybe I'm setting my hopes a bit too high.
what is your obsession with like 250 or 300-pound wrestlers? I can't figure
I
that.
need to think of all the. Well, actually, you're right because I like Bam Bam. I greatly enjoyed Yokozuna. Maybe I have a problem.
Yeah, and you were also talking about how you think Bull Nakano needs to go into the Hall of Fame, and that's a name that nobody would care about.
Old Nakano wasn't that big, was she?
She wasn't she? Let me look it up. No, wait, I shouldn't look that up because my keyboard is loud as fuck.
I'll look it up.
You want me to look it up?
Sure, yeah, look up Bull Nakano.
What do I look up? Bull Nakano weight?
Build weight, yeah. Oh, do they not say the weight for women? They might not.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm looking on Wikipedia.
Build weight.
Build weight is 201 pounds or 91 kilograms.
Oh,
So I can understand as well.
well, that is bigger for a women's wrestler, I guess. I don't. How much is Nia Jax then?
Let me jack. Let
Nia
me
Jax,
jack.
Let me.
Near 300 or something crazy.
Let me
like
jacks.
We should try and find a way to make Nia Jax a verb. Let me just go.
She is 272 pounds or 123 kilograms. So pretty weightier than Bull Nakano.
Yeah, way bigger. I don't know. I'm hardly an expert on Bull Nakano. All the pictures I've seen of her, she looked bigger, but I mean, it's not difficult to be bigger than most of the women's wrestlers WWE's had. Most of them are stick figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't think Bull Nakano was that big, but 200 pounds, I guess I'll give you that one.
Yeah, we're both right and we're both wrong. She's bigger than you thought, but she's not as big as I thought. I thought she was Nia Jax size, definitely. All right, let's see. Cedric.
Alex thought that Bull Nakano was Vader in a wig.
No. Let's make it a verb. Let's make Nia Jax a verb. I thought Bull Nakano was Nia Jaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a meme. That's a meme that I just tried to start and did not lift off the ground. All right. All right.
Dead on arrival.
Dead on arrival. Exactly. DOA. All right. Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. Who the fuck are either of these guys?
Flippy boys.
Okay.
Flippy boys indeed. members of the cruiserweight division, and like I said a couple podcasts ago, maybe I think they're going to be the ones to steal the show. Like everyone's saying, Shinsuke and AJ is the dream match here and the one to keep your eye on. I'm saying even if Cedric and Mustafa only get 2 minutes in the pre-show, I think they're going to outshine them all.
Oh, they're that good, huh?
In my personal opinion, they're not that good that they can carry a show all by themselves, but I still think they're capable of outshining everyone else on the card.
Interesting. I haven't been paying too much attention to the cruiserweight division. I wasn't sure whether or not they would have. I wasn't sure whether or not they had a good mix, because like the old WCW cruiserweight division, like they were all cruiserweights, but they didn't all wrestle in the typical cruiserweight style of lots of flips. Because you had guys like I hate to mention his name in any context other than cursing him, but Chris Benoit, he didn't wrestle like Rey Mysterio or whatever, Psychosis. It was Psychosis like that.
Yeah, because they had that good mix of luchadors and then the Jerichos and Benoits and Guerreros, who was more of a luchador as well, but they had a very decent mix.
Yeah,
I do feel that the WWE's modern cruiserweight division can get a bit monotonous because there are a lot of flippy boys in there. But then they do have guys like Drew Gulak who are very grounded, and his entire gimmick is that he doesn't like people that flip around.
That's neat.
Yeah. He's one of the absolute highlights of the 205 Live.
All right, that's it.
And
that sounds interesting. I ought to look into. I ought to look into some of these guys. The old way I used to look into wrestlers on YouTube was looking up like highlights of their compilations of their moves. Like you'd get those crazy YouTube videos of like the 100 best moves of Shinsuke Nakamura, and it's like a person was able to find 100 different moves that Nakamura has done.
Yeah.
The 100 best moves of Shinsuke Nakamura. Number 1, knee. Number 2, other knee. Number 3, flying knee.
there was
almost like Jericho's list from WCW.
There was a lot of that. I remember there being a lot of that. I'll have to look into that, but the guy I used to keep up on for that kind of stuff is like I think YouTube copyrighted him into oblivion, so I'll have to look in other places. Let's see. We've got the Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Who are the Bludgeon Brothers?
John Cena. According to nameplates, it's John Cena. The Bludgeon Brothers are John Cena.
Okay, you guys both talked at the same time. I'm going to assume Addie made a stupid joke, so Pink, you say.
No, they are Harper and Rowan normally, but there was a mix-up a couple of weeks back where John Cena was coming out and the nameplate came up and he said the Bludgeon Brothers.
Oh.
So you did make a stupid joke.
Yeah, you did make a stupid joke, and one with a very difficult to understand context.
One that nobody here could understand because we don't keep up with the product.
Oh. But yeah, we've got Usos, New Day, Bludgeon Brothers. This sounds like the least interesting match on the card to me. Easily. Which, I mean, New Day, like, I don't hate New Day as much as a lot of people do. I get why they find them annoying. But I've always been a fan of Xavier. I've always been a fan of Kofi. And, like, Biggie is, like, in space where I don't care. I think the gimmick is...
I think I'm a little opposite of you, because I really enjoy Biggie at times. At times he can be very bland, but when he flips the switch, he can get into a very good place with me. Xavier Woods, I've found all right at times. It's very iffy in a coin toss with him. And Kofi, I really enjoyed, but I don't think he's ever been the guy that I'll agree with that should have gone further. I think he just couldn't ever pull it out at the top.
Well, that's weird because it seems that we're all on different positions because I never really cared about Kofi. I didn't like Biggie when I saw him, and I haven't even watched Xavier Woods. But I have always hated New Day. So,
I mean, the New Day gimmick isn't that good of isn't a very good gimmick. It isn't even a very good comedic gimmick. I feel like it's the kind of comedic gimmick that takes away from every match that they're involved in.
Yes.
And I think that is a big problem, that it makes all of the matches they take part in not serious. It takes away from the story. But
Yeah.
it is a case where I'm not going to rant about the New Day gimmick, New Day too badly, because I do still appreciate the workers that are in it. Kofi, I always liked Kofi. I was always interested to see where Kofi could go with a World Championship reign, but he would definitely be the kind of guy that if he got a World Championship reign, it should only be a one-off. Like what happened to Miz is something that I think could have happened to Kofi, and I would have been interested to see where it went. But at the same time, I acknowledge that Kofi is not a very obviously World Championship guy. He is very happy-go-lucky and hard to take seriously at times, and his matches do tend to revolve on a lot of the same things. You know, he does the monkey flips, he does the Kronko Buster, he finishes with either the SOS or the Trouble in Paradise. Kofi is very much not a worker who mixes things up.
Yeah.
Xavier is a guy.
There's also the problem where I don't think even at the top level, his mic skills could take him very far. Because, like you said, he's a very happy guy, and there wouldn't be much to him on the microphone.
I think there was some fun when they had the feud between him and Orton back in the Legacy days, when they had where Kofi actually got pissed and got serious for a little bit. But that was one of those things where they immediately ended it afterwards. So,
Yeah.
he went back to being happy-go-lucky. So it was kind of like the old R-Truth thing of R-Truth. They pushed as being a serious psychopath heel that worked really well, and then they just made him go back to being happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of an awkward way that WWE tends to book their black faces all the same way.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, not to go back to calling WWE racist, but it is kind of an awkward thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Xavier Woods, I think Xavier Woods could have gone somewhere. I think that now that he's had the sex tape, though, it's always going to be kind of awkward seeing where Xavier can go in the company.
Yeah.
I mean, Rollins was able to get over...
Yeah, I was about to mention Rollins as well. He had his, nude pictures leaked, the day before WrestleMania 31 or 2, where he won the championship.
Yeah, I saw those. That's scarring, definitely. Rollins has recovered from having his nudes leaked, but Xavier Xavier full on had a sex tape, and that's difficult to push past.
Yeah, I guess that is true, because video is not a picture.
Yeah, and you can hear him and see him doing it and everything. And not only that, but it's also with Paige, who, Paige is very obviously a damaged girl. I mean, it doesn't shine greatly on Xavier's character that he'd sleep with someone who's got issues like Paige. And I'm not saying that it's bad to sleep with people who have issues, but I am saying that it seems like you're a person like Paige, it would seem like you're exploiting their issues if you sleep with them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the only thing... I used to fucking hate Del Rio back in the day. The only thing that's made me turn around on Del Rio is just the fact that Del Rio actually seems to be taking their relationship seriously and actually trying to help her.
Not anymore.
Has he? Has he not? Because I know there was the whole thing. I know there was the whole thing where they tried to. There was supposed to be an abuse scandal, but it turned out Paige was just throwing a glass of water in his face or something.
Yeah. They've since broken up.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's
Paige also got a tattoo recently that's on her knuckles saying "talk shit, get bit" or something.
She did.
That seems like it would be a gimmick thing, though.
She doesn't use it, though, because she wears gloves.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
With this... Paige seems to be very clearly psychologically not in a good place, ever. So...
Which, I mean...
As much as I dislike Paige in the ring and as a character, and maybe even as a person, I'd like her to not do stupid things and maybe improve her life.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole thing of where she's the kind of damage that it's not like you resent her for it. There have been a lot of wrestlers who had mental issues, and you find yourself resenting them for it because it winds up causing them to do bad things. Paige is a case where you just feel bad for her.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't seem like she's hurting other people so much as she's just hurting herself.
absolutely.
But that's a whole nother topic. Back to the match, like New Day, like I don't know, I like the workers, the gimmick bothers me. Usos, I have never given anything even slightly resembling a shit about the Usos.
They have a new gimmick. They are now street dogs. Genuinely.
Street what's?
Street dogs.
Dogs?
Thug.
Thugs.
Thugs.
Yes.
Why?
Not sure. They want to be gangster or something. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
look at-
the story there is that they weren't getting any championship opportunities as the happy faces, so it's a typical we didn't get anywhere by being happy and playing nice, so now we're gonna be bad guys.
Oh my god, how many times can WWE do that for a heel turn?
So many, so very many.
There's a picture of them now.
It's like, well, firstly, Addy, this is an audio podcast. If you post a picture, it doesn't help the audience.
You can put it on the screen.
But
Yeah, dish off some work towards him.
but it's the old Hollywood Hogan heel turn, and they keep doing that for so many workers that don't need it. I mean, Usos are workers that nobody cared about. There was so little care about. You could have had the Usos disappear off programming for a month, and then just had them come back with this gimmick, and no one would have noticed or cared.
Yeah, probably.
There's that fucking.
I think
There's
one of the Usos was injured like for a decent while, which did actually lead into this gimmick.
probably. I think one of them also got married to what's her face, right? The old Brodus Clay dancer.
Yeah,
Naomi or the
Yeah.
other one.
Naomi, yes.
nailed.
And of course, there's Bludgeon Brothers, which I like Luke well enough, but Rowan is such a nothing wrestler that he gets dragged down.
Yeah,
He did have that match with the Rock once, didn't he?
what?
I think Rowan had a match against the Rock on WrestleMania once, like a dark
Oh,
match.
yes, he did. He had a 6-second match with The Rock.
That's hilarious.
That's his WrestleMania moment.
That is always the funny thing whenever a big guy gets put up against a little guy, and it's like, this is the greatest thing will ever happen to the little guy. He should just retire because it's all downhill from here.
Yep. When Rowan gets put into the Hall of Fame 50 years from now, that's going to be the highlight they play over and over again.
And he will
They
go.
were actually
He will go.
that actually would be go on.
He will go into the Hall of Fame 50 years from now because since they induct 10 people into the Hall of Fame every year, they're going to be running out of fucking candidates 50 years from now.
Yep.
So yeah, and when they show his highlights, there won't be anything because it was a dark match. There will just be darkness on the screen, and then he's out accepting the nomination.
They'll show all the times he got fucking beat the shit beat out of him by better wrestlers. Luke Harper, I wish that he would have kept with what he was doing during his Intercontinental title reign, but he didn't. He went back to just being a tag team guy, and I don't know if that's probably WWE booking's fault more than his. And,
Yes.
And with WWE booking, it's just such a mess that I hate WWE's booking nowadays, and it's the big reason why I got out of watching WWE because it is the single biggest problem WWE has.
Yep. It's like Luke Harper should not be in a tag team anymore. Like this time last year, he was competing with Orton for a spot at Mania because he botched one of the finishes, and Luke was getting really over. But then they had him lose, and they took him off TV, and then he hadn't been seen again for months on end, and then they randomly re-debuted him as a member of the Bludgeon Brothers
Wait, hang on.
because
He got close to the top by a botch? What happened?
yes, you remember how Caitlyn won a battle royal a few years back, and became #1 contender to Layla's championship?
After a botch? Yes, and then that led into Caitlyn's Divas Championship reign.
Yes,
didn't it?
that led into Caitlyn's reign. Basically the same thing happened with Luke Harper. I believe they had a battle royal Royale as well, and I don't remember who. I think it was Orton that botched it and fell out of the ring.
That that
And
that is always
I
hilarious
believe,
to me.
yeah, I believe the finish was both of them out on the apron, and Orton slipped, and Luke Harper went to jump down as well. So it was basically a double finish, like Luger and Hart at the Rumble,
Right.
where both feet allegedly hit the ground at the same time, even though on the replay and on the cameras it was blatantly obvious that Orton or whoever hit the mat before Luke Harper even jumped off the apron. And so so Harper and Orton had a match like the SmackDown before WrestleMania to decide who was going to face Wyatt for the championship.
WWE's damage control is the worst. When something fucks up and it needs to be fixed in WWE, whoever is in charge of that sucks at his job.
Yes.
Because you know they could have settled it much simpler than that. They could have simply said that Orton slipped out of the ring and then Luke won, and then just like the next week on Raw have someone is supposed to, like, you see a backstage segment of somebody attacking Luke with a foreign object, and it's supposed to be that Luke's injured, so then Orton gets the nomination spot.
Yeah, there are a number of ways they could have solved that better, but they did not.
And when they bring Luke back, push him up as being like angry that he got cheated out of his title shot or whatever. But you know,
Yeah.
Day handles it very badly when things they wanted to happen don't happen. And the most notable thing here is it says SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and now I'm looking back at the Bar versus Braun Strowman, and it says Raw Tag Team Championships. Why are the tag team titles divided?
The brand split, they brought that back.
Okay, but why are the tag team titles divided? The tag team division is easily WWE's weakest division. Why would they give it two titles?
That is an excellent question, because I believe a lot of people were hoping like the women would go on one brand and the tag team division would go on another, but they did not. So it's like each show has maybe 3 or 4 teams at most.
Well, the women, it makes sense because the women's division of WWE is expanding rapidly. Now they've got like 20 women workers, so that's enough for I'd say that's enough for 2 championships.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the tag team title is like WWE has always been terrible about tag teams. And like particularly in the last 10 years when their main idea, well, 20 years I'd say, when their main idea of a tag team is just put together 2 guys that they like and want to throw another title on their record, you know? So that
Yep.
throw together Cena and Miz as a tag team, even though that clearly doesn't work, just so that you can say when Cena comes out, oh, he's a 5-time tag team champion. Like it makes the tag team titles worthless, and so the tag team titles are still worthless. And now that they're divided into 2, they're even more worthless. Like you can't have something that is too tiny and worthless and divide it by half and expect it to increase in value.
Yeah. And to top that off, you've got Braun Strowman, who is a singles competitor, going up against a tag team with a tag team partner of his choosing.
And you know Braun Strowman is going to win that because WWE is trying to push Braun Strowman and nothing is succeeding.
Yeah. And he'll probably win it alone.
I can't see him winning it alone, but his unnamed partner will definitely win it for him because Strowman's not a good worker from what I've heard. But I've never watched him, so I can't judge him too bad. Then we got the 2 Battle Royals. A 13-woman Battle Royal, the Women's Battle Royal, which has Bayley, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Lana, Liv Morgan, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Natalya, Naomi, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville. I don't recognize half the names on that list, and that's probably a good thing.
I only know of Bayley, Mickie James, Natalya, and Naomi, I think.
Okay, so the women's division has expanded a little bit. And I thought there was someone else who was an older women's wrestler that had made a comeback alongside Mickie James. I thought like someone like Gail Kim, I thought had made a comeback, hadn't they?
No. Gail Kim is probably always going to be in TNA.
I
Um,
believe Gail Kim is retired at this point
Yeah,
because I don't
I
think she's
wouldn't
with
know.
TNA anymore.
I don't follow her, so
yeah. I would think that Gail Kim would be one of the ones to retire quickly because her husband is that guy who does that stupid restaurant show on the Food Channel or something. I made a reference there that was completely irrelevant. Yeah, I forgot for a little bit that I was the only person who, when I was 10 years old, basically the only thing we watched in my house was the Food Channel. So there's that. But yeah,
so yeah.
this is a interesting lineup to me. Like, obviously, when you throw together this many women in the ring, like, you're going to get at least one or two that people like. And of course, I always like Natalia, and what I've seen of Becky Lynch seemed pretty neat. Wait, Lana? Lana's wrestling?
Yeah.
I thought
Yes.
I thought Lana was just a manager.
No, she quit managing Rusev so she can become a wrestler.
Oh, that's interesting.
I believe that she was always training in developmental. They just, well, for one, she's not very good, so they didn't bring her up as a wrestler. And there's also the fact that they are husband and wife in real life, so
Which will always be astounding to me.
yeah. I don't know, Russ is a pretty attractive guy.
On what planet? On Mars, maybe? But, let's see. Yeah.
So what you're saying is Maurice finds Rusev good looking. Everything that is Mars is now Maurice.
Yeah, I don't know where this is your dumbest.
It's
This is your dumbest joke yet, honestly.
I know because it's it's a reference that nobody will get.
Nobody will get it, and most of the time, when you say it, we just think that you're associating them because the spelling is similar.
No, it's a long and stupid joke that is not
Nobody
worth
will
explaining.
understand.
Basically, yeah, it's not worth explaining.
Let's see, what else? There's a lot of names here I don't recognize, like who the fuck is Sarah Logan? Who the hell is Sonya Deville? Ruby Riott sounds like a punk girl, I'm gonna say.
I think she's from Sanity.
No,
That's Sarah Logan,
She's not?
isn't it?
no. Nikki Cross is from Sanity.
Okay.
Ruby Riott is the punk rock type chick who had a brief stint in NXT. She's a horribly sloppy wrestler, and I have no idea how she got called up so fast, along with the rest of her crew, which I believe is Sarah Logan and a Liv Morgan.
Okay.
Liv Morgan is absolutely terrible.
Huh.
There's like no way at all that she should have been called up as soon as she did. She shouldn't have been called up, maybe ever. They should have fired her.
Makes me wonder what they think is marketable about these characters then.
I don't know. She's store brand Alexa Bliss.
Huh. Because, I mean, Ruby Riott makes a little bit of sense because you can push the punk girl gimmick as a whole thing. But I don't know about these others.
Yeah.
Well, for Ruby Riott, that was Ashley Massaro at one point.
What?
Ashley Massaro, or whatever her name was. I
She
think that
hasn't
was
been
her
with
name.
the company in ages.
Yeah. But she was a thing, so maybe they're trying to take
That was
her.
like a decade ago.
Probably, I wouldn't know.
I think it's literally been a decade at this point. Because I think the last time Ashley Massaro was here was 2008.
Yes, that... Okay. Addie's axe... Just calling her Massaro, I was like, who the fuck is Massaro? Ashley Massaro? Okay. But yes, she has not wrestled since 2008. Yeah. Which, that probably was around the time that her boob exploded in the ring.
Did that really happen?
Yeah, it was actually supposed to be like she belly flopped and accidentally popped one of her fake boobs.
Oh.
Which, I mean, that's kind of funny to laugh at, but it's also kind of horrifying if you can imagine it actually
that's
happening.
very horrifying. That's why you don't put synthetic stuff in your chest.
Yeah.
I suppose so. I'll just say that with battle royals, I can't really bring myself to care because what's the stakes?
Yeah. There are none, and battle royals are not fun to watch for the most part. They're just sort of there.
Yeah, because you just get people like at the start of the match, it's all of the people just going into corners and punching.
Yep.
And every match starts like that, and you'll maybe have the one big guy, whoever. Well, there's no monsters.
Yeah, there are no big people in the women's battle royal.
Yeah, ordinarily you get the monster who like wipes out 2 or 3 people and spends half the match sitting in the corner watching. Like, Great Khali back in the day would just sit in the corner for the first half of the match and then decide to clean house.
Yeah.
Instead of a monster here, this time the people we don't know will just form a formation to become a gigantic robot.
Why did I know you were going for that joke? My God, I'm getting like this psychic sense for what stupid jokes Addie is going to make. It's absurd.
Yeah. Like, I guess they have some powerhouses in Natty and Tamina that they can kind of do the big man face off with.
Tamina isn't in the match.
Well,
Tamina isn't in the match.
is that confirmed?
Well, according to the list I'm seeing right here, she isn't listed. It's a 13-woman match with Bayley, Becky, Carmella, Lana, Liv, whoever. I don't see a Tamina.
Kaza only listed the competitors that have been confirmed. That's also why the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal only has 14 in it right now. They've announced some people for the match, but I'm thinking that they'll add some names on the actual show. Because I'm pretty sure they want everyone available to be inside a Battle Royal.
Oh, okay, that might... Yeah, you can never trust Kaza.
Exactly, that's why I don't let him make the threads.
So, I mean, the Women's Battle Royal, it's there. It's probably going to be a big old waste of talent, which, that's what you can expect out of WWE nowadays.
Yeah.
The Andre the Giant Battle Royal. It's going to be a big old Battle Royal. Yeah, they got,
Oh, geez, Governor. Yeah.
Holy shit, Primo? I thought...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Primo's alive. I think Epico is injured, though.
Okay,
Doesn't Primo sell like real estate in Cuba or something now? What's his gimmick?
That would be hilarious if it was true, but I don't think it is. But Primo's been wrestling with WWE for like 10 years now, hasn't he? It's just now dawning on me, because he's like going back to I remember him being in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
Yep. He's been around longer than 2011. I want to say it was maybe the tail end of 2009 when he got on TV, and he was probably in their developmental system long before that.
Sheesh. That's always the crazy thing about looking into the nonsense garbage wrestlers. Well, I don't know if Primo's necessarily garbage, but he is nonsense. And finding out these nothing wrestlers have actually been with the day for forever. And
yeah.
the one I always remember was Kelly Kelly at the end of her career had a longer career than Trish Stratus did.
That is true.
Which is depressing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of fucking guys that have been around with the company forever, Zack Ryder, Zack Ryder's going back to 2006 or 2007, isn't he?
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah, because I cannot fucking talk. Debuted with Kurt Hawkins, which is Kurt left WWE, came back. Has he left again yet?
No.
No, not yet.
That's surprising, because I've heard a lot about that guy having attitude issues.
Really? I honestly haven't heard much about any attitude problems.
I remember him being the designated guy about in 2011 or 2012 that people would say he was the most underrated wrestler. And that was of course, the regular old indie fan idiots, but
Yeah.
And I think
that was also
that was
probably a part of the THQ forums back then.
Yes, I think that was a big thing. Because him and Tyler Rex got excluded from all the games back then, and a lot of people lost their shit over it.
Yeah, Trent Beretta as well.
Yeah, I forgot Trent Beretta existed. For a second there, I was like, who the fuck is Trent Beretta?
Yeah, I remember those three guys very well, and how everyone lost their minds upon their exclusion from 12 and 13.
Tyler Rex should have been automatically excluded from anything just because he called his finisher the Burning Hammer, and it was very obviously not a Burning Hammer.
Yeah.
Wasn't he also just basically another Batista, or am I thinking of something or someone else?
No, that was Mason Ryan.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking of Jason Ryan
Batista
then.
Jr. Tyler Rex like started as a surfer and then just devolved into nothingness.
Yeah, he devolved into a monster jobber, which is a weird thing to say, but it happens from time to time.
So what we're saying is we're awaiting the return of Chuck Palumbo. After all this,
Is Chuck Palumbo even alive anymore?
I'm not sure. Let me check.
He definitely is, because I think I would have heard about it if he died.
Yeah,
But
I'm pretty sure he's alive as well, but his career is not.
yeah,
Yeah, he's still alive. He's 40,
Thank you for
46.
confirming that. I was a little worried.
now correct me if I'm wrong here, but is is that move in the WWE games the move where you place the guy on your shoulder and then flip him off to the side? Is it still named after the same name that Chuck Palumbo had for it? Like the overdrive or the something like that. Something starting with an F, having to do with biking.
I don't believe so.
Huh.
I wouldn't know.
I remember for like long after Chuck Palumbo had left the company, the name he had for that move was still the name the game had for it. I don't want to call it Flat Out, because that's the name of a racing video game.
Yeah, the one that I talked about like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Would have been like Flatline or something. No, because that's more heart
Flatliner,
rating.
Flatliner was the name for the reverse STO for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Which I don't know who originated that one. It was always the goofy thing with the WWE games where you'd have variations on the moves, and rather than calling it a jumping reverse STO, they would call it a jumping flatliner. It was like, wow, that's not even close to what the move should be named. Yeah, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal looks like it'll be hot garbage. They got Zack Ryder there, and Zack Ryder, I don't know, people turned around on him a little bit when he won the one Wrestlemania match for the Intercontinental Championship, right?
What was that?
People turned around on Ryder when he won the one championship match, right, in WrestleMania like 2 or 3 years ago, where he was the dark horse.
Yeah. He wasn't even supposed to be in that match. He was only in it because Neville got injured like weeks before it.
Yeah, that was actually one case of the booking actually being kind of interesting, because that was an actual dark horse win, and those never happen in WWE. That was an actual win nobody would have predicted, and that's kind of amazing considering how predictable WWE usually is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Ryder is one guy that I don't particularly care a whole lot about, just because he strikes me as kind of a whiner. I mean, he had an entire web show devoted to him whining about the fact that he wasn't a big guy on the card. And we got Heath Slater, who is still there, and like, didn't it turn out Heath Slater was a rapist or something?
I
No,
don't think I heard
yes.
about that.
There was
I believe at like one of the WrestleManias, like few years back, maybe 5 or 6, during like one of the WrestleMania weekends, he was like accused of like dragging somebody by the hair into a hotel room and raping them or whatnot, but nothing was ever confirmed, I believe, or nothing came of it.
I hate Slater, so I'm just going to choose to believe that.
But he has kids.
Well, that doesn't dispute it, Addy. That's absurd.
Does he still his gimmick? Or is that still his gimmick, rather?
I don't know what...
His gimmick kind of fell to the wayside because, once he won the tag team championships with Rhino, they kind of stopped booking him at all.
Oh.
Like, they finished that storyline and they didn't want to continue it any further, so they just dropped it.
Thank God. Man,
Because yeah, his gimmick for a while was that he has kids.
stupid. Man, fuck Heath Slater. We got Goldust, who is, like, what, 50 years old now and still wrestling?
Yeah, probably older. He's been wrestling since like the 60s.
I don't know if it goes back that far, but he was definitely wrestling with his
No.
dad back in the day when he was wrestling with his dad during a time period where his dad wrestled. So that says a lot.
Yep.
We got Fandango, and Fandango is there. I don't even know what Fandango's gimmick is supposed to be, other than like he and I've seen more than a few gifs of him and Tyler Breeze together and dressed up in like village people gay cop outfits. So
They are supposed to be like fashion cops or something.
really, because they look like male strippers.
I mean, might as well be.
They do, but that's part of fashion. You gotta make some sacrifices in the name of fashion.
You gotta be a stripper. Put your dick out. That's what fashion dictates.
And don't they come out on a little like moped or something?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything like that yet.
I think their entrance is they come out on like a moped, and Fandango is riding, and Fandango is driving, and Tyler Breeze is riding. What do they call it? Bitch seat. I think bikers actually call it bitch seat, which is hilarious. Misogynistic, yes, but still hilarious. So that's a whole funny thing. We got Matt Hardy and Mojo Rawley, the other designated garbage guys of this match. Which, why is Matt Hardy in this? Because wasn't Matt Hardy going through like a big feud with Bray Wyatt where he fucking threw Bray Wyatt into the Lazarus pit or something?
Yeah, but
Yes.
Wyatt is lying in the Lazarus pit, and Matt Hardy is smoked enough meth to actually compete or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Wyatt is still at the bottom of that lake, and Matt Hardy has like nothing else to do, so they just shoved him in the Rumble.
Is Matt Hardy like slowly building up energy or something?
He's gonna sacrifice people so he can be immortal forever.
He's gonna absorb their life force like Shang Tsung.
Yeah. I await zombie Wyatt.
If they had done that instead of the stupid Lazarus pit thing, like it would have gone from stupid to stupid awesome instantly, like stupid hilarious. Or Matt Hardy just finishes every match with like Shang Tsung, "Your soul is mine."
Like,
Yeah, but then he
and just
couldn't laugh.
slowly turn his little bleach spot back to black as he's consuming all the souls.
Oh, I would think
Yeah,
the bleach spot would expand.
But he's got to get younger.
Turn the bleach spot back to black, and then slowly make him back into version 1.
That'd probably work, except that they'd have to get better makeup artists to cover up for the fact that he is getting fucking old.
Yeah.
I was thinking like the bleach
He'll
spot.
just come out wearing a prosthetic face of his old self,
Yeah,
and it will be horrifying.
that'd be awesome. I'd fucking love it if they
Come
did.
on. He'll just be basically Sting wearing a Sting mask.
You know what they'd have to do? They stick like a they'd hide in his wrist tape. They'd hide a little flamethrower tube, and they'd have like a cable that they'd flesh color to hide it, running down his side, running through his pants, and they'd connect it to a gas tank underneath the ring, and he throws fireballs on occasion.
Yeah, but they rise from the ground. As per Shang Tsung.
Well, Shang Tsung can throw fireballs out of his hands too. It'd be complicated. It'd be complicated to get the flames in a skull pattern, but I'm sure Day could do it.
With enough CGI, anything can get done.
Yeah. I want that.
If it-
I want that to be our new stupid canon that Matt Hardy is becoming Shang Tsung.
I really need to buy the next game just so we can do it.
Mojo Rawley, of course, is in there, and I don't know anything about Mojo Rawley other than he's supposed to be a stupid gimmick where every move he does is the people's elbow, right?
I thought every move he does is done with his ass or something. Then again, I haven't seen Mojo Rawley, so...
Why not both? Pink, have you ever seen Mojo Rawley work? Can you explain this to us?
Yes, he's terrible.
Okay, explain. Enlighten us.
Okay, Mojo Rawley is incredibly limited in the ring. He does not have stamina to keep up with anyone else, basically. Which is surprising because his entrance is him running down to the ring like an idiot. or it used to be, because he's had a heel turn recently. So maybe he just walks very slowly to the ring.
If his heel gimmick was actually just becoming anti-Mojo Rawley, that'd be great. Shadow Mojo Rawley. Nega Mojo.
Yeah. Unhyped Mojo.
No, it would.
Instead of doing
His initial gimmick was that he was hyped
It's
all the time, was super hyper, and had a quote-unquote explosive moveset.
Instead of being Mojo Rawley, he becomes Jomo Rawley, and it gets managed by John Morrison.
Is John Morrison still alive?
Yes.
Don't look it up, Addy.
He was in Shine. Not Shine.
Glow.
Glow. Right. I got my all women promotions confused.
Shimmer, Shine, Glow. It's all the same.
Yeah. Why do they always go with names like that?
They're very illuminated.
I guess it's probably like a legacy thing. Like they're saying Shimmer and Shine are inspired by Glow, so I guess their names would take after it.
Yeah.
We are sitting at an hour and a half, so we should probably be done with our WrestleMania talk.
Yeah.
Alright, we can talk for a little bit about, since it's a slow news week in gaming, the only thing we've got to talk about for gaming really is, we should talk about what are our favorite genres of games and what are our least favorite genres. And are either of you guys ready to go, or should I go first?
Whatever. I'm fine either way.
I'll just go first because I feel like I'm ready.
Alright.
Yeah, sounds good.
For me, personally, I tend to be a play everything kind of gamer, so it's difficult for me to say my least favorite genres. I will definitely say I hate top-down shoot-em-ups. All of them.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't buy you Enter the Gungeon.
No. Hell no. I fucking hate those games.
I honestly don't think I've ever played a top-down shooter.
Good for you. I think that...
Maybe the original Zelda sort of counts, because you could, shoot swords or something, but no.
I think it's a little bit different there. I feel like any game where you have to shoot by... I hate the top-down perspective altogether, but anytime... hey, Pink, we're getting a lot of feedback from your end. I can hear what I'm saying coming back from your end, Pink.
Let me see if I can turn down my volume.
It's weird. It just suddenly started. I don't know if... Did you put your mic closer to your stereo or something?
I don't know. I didn't do anything on my end.
Oh, that's weird. Personally, I always use the earbuds. But... Yeah, I don't like the top-down perspective, and I don't like having to aim with the right stick usually, because it's usually pretty... The aiming is usually pretty bad. The only top-down shoot-'em-up I ever liked, I think, was Binding of Isaac, and I still wasn't very good at it. Then again, not a whole lot of people are good at Binding of Isaac. But my favorite genres, I'd have to shoot for fighting games and RPGs, probably. Because fighting games it's just one of the few types of game where I'd consider myself better than average. Still not great, but better than average. And I just like how, for me, a big part of a story that I always like is diverse character casts. And one of the biggest things that will make me like a game is having a multitude of playable characters that I can pick from that play differently. And that is the entire thing of fighting games. You cannot make a fighting game where everyone plays the same or everyone is the same and you can only play as one character. That's insane. That's absurd. You can't do that. So, for me, that's a lot of fun of it, is picking up Injustice or Marvel vs. Capcom or Street Fighter and trying out all the characters and getting good with them and seeing how differently they are and seeing how they play against each other. I think that's a big part of the fun. And similarly with RPGs, I'm not big on the single-person RPGs, cases like Witcher or Fallout or Elder Scrolls, where there is no party, it's just you. I don't like that. What I consider an RPG, which, of course this is just my whole thing, obviously those other games are still RPGs, but for me, the RPGs that I love are the RPGs where you have party members, and they have personalities and their own arcs they go through, and you make decisions regarding your treatment of them and your behavior towards them, and your character's own behavior. So I fucking love games like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Persona, And I intend to at some point get into the old Final Fantasy games, though Square Enix is not making that easy. Because I love RPGs with big parties and, you know, all that. I think that's a big part of it for me. And
All right.
I guess
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna plug my headphones in and see if that reduces any of that feedback, and also if I'm still able to use this while I've got headphones in. So give me 1 second.
okay.
All right.
And Addie, you can go ahead and talk about your favorite and least favorite genres, I suppose.
All right. I'm not sure which would be easier to say. I guess I'll go with favorite because I guess I have a clearer idea of that. Well, with me, it's really a seasonal thing. As for what's my favorite genre. And by seasonal, I mean that as I play more games, I discover that I like more types of games. I never would have thought that I'd like RPGs, but I really like Chrono Trigger. It's actually one of my favorites now that I actually played through it. I like action RPGs as well, but that's not really different enough for me to make a difference, or
There's a big
to differentiate between the two.
There's a big difference between turn-based and action RPGs, though. I'd say definitely. Like,
Well, yeah, but when looking at every genre there's not enough difference to differentiate between the two from being just RPGs in the end of the day. There is definitely a big difference between the two when we look at them, though.
I mean, I'd say there's a big difference between 2D and 3D fighting games, and that's roughly comparable.
You cut out.
Just move on. I didn't say anything relevant.
Okay. Well then, a couple of years ago, I would have said that my favorite genres are fighting and platformers because, well, that's what I liked most. But then, I grew cold with fighting games because being a person who doesn't like combos, well, not like as much as I can't actually freaking remember them. But yeah, as a person who wasn't subjected to combos that much, and I haven't really played that many platformers since Super Mario Brothers, so that's kind of out of the question there because I don't actually like 3D platformers. That's a problem.
Yeah, for 2D platformers, you have to go with a Nintendo console or you won't get any. Like,
So yeah,
Xbox has
go
the
ahead, go ahead.
occasional indie game like Fez or, with platformers, honestly, nowadays you'd mostly need to go for Metroidvanias rather than just straight platformers.
So yeah, since then I'd say that mostly now I like RPGs as well because, well, whatever. I've been getting a lot more into role playing games and shit, but not LARPing. I try not to get into that.
LARPing is a whole
Because
nother level of nerd that even D&D fans think LARPing is pathetic.
the thing is, my family, now that I run D&D games for them, are actually wanted to LARP, and I try my hardest not to. That-
That's
yeah,
not so much video gaming though as it is tabletop gaming, which is a whole nother discussion, but still something I want to hit at some point. Though probably off podcast because it's more of a thing for just us, but whatever.
yeah, we'll have to return to it, off podcast or something. But yes, for video games, I said RPGs, and what would you describe? Actually, never mind, because yeah, basically the whatever you describe the first Assassin's Creed to the third game. So I guess open world action RPG, or not action RPG, bloody action adventure.
Open world action adventure stealth, I'd say.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the funny, yeah, go
it
ahead.
depends on how much you actually do stealth. I should mention that, like, how big are you on the actual fighting system of Assassin's Creed, or do you prefer to fight directly or to do stealth?
I try to do stealth, but I'm not against fighting if I get caught.
You definitely need to look into the Batman Arkham video games. I think those are.
I wanted to. I actually played through City, I think,
Yeah.
but then, as much as I want to buy them, and as much as I like the Arkham series story, because I have watched through all of the games aside from Origins,
Arkham,
which is
Arkham Knight's
yeah.
story is hot garbage, if you ask me. But you know, that's a whole nother thing. I could rant for an entire topic about how much I hate Arkham Knight.
But yeah, I counted the expenses of buying the Arkham games in the sale that was still going on. I think as we recorded. Yeah, I thought about buying those, but then it's a game I've played through and a game I haven't, plus Arkham Knight, or I get two games that I haven't played through and well Oblivion, which I also haven't played through, but Oblivion is its own thing.
What I'd recommend is just pick up Arkham Asylum, because Arkham Asylum I think is just as good if as Arkham City, maybe a little bit less. A lot of people prefer Asylum over City because Asylum is a lot more focused, and City has that whole kind of free roam aspect, but it's ultimately kind of analogous to the actual game because there's not much free roam stuff you'd actually want to do other than going around beating up thugs.
Yeah, and the thing is that I really need to look into buying like older freaking third person. I don't know how I'd actually put all of these in one kind of thing, but like third person superhero games. Like I really want to buy Spider-Man Web of Shadows and Shadow Dimensions because I remember playing Shadow or not Shadows, freaking Dimensions back in when, and that's what made me like Spider-Man 2099.
Web of Shadows
But
is really, really good. It's more of a free roam game. I don't know if Shattered Dimensions didn't have free roam, did it?
no, it just told a story.
Okay, that's what turned me off from Shattered Dimensions because I think Spider-Man is one superhero that for me the free roam is a big aspect, swinging around the city and stopping individual little crimes like just muggings and people falling off of skyscrapers.
Yeah, the thing with me looking or liking Shadow Dimensions is that, well, for one, I like how or I like how it talks about how there's different Spider-Man and things like that, and I also liked that it was linear because at that point the games that I've played through Spider-Man games are Friend or Foe, which is good for what it is. It's a 3D beat 'em up, so whatever. And Spider-Man 3, and Spider-Man 3 is
Spider-Man 3 is hot garbage. Everyone hated Spider-Man 3, especially because it was the follow-up. Especially because it was the follow-up to Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 2 was the one everybody loved.
but yeah. So I got up until Venom in Spider-Man 3 until the game bugged out and I couldn't actually progress. And then I was like, okay.
Did you play Ultimate Spider-Man?
I don't. Was it the one on PC?
I don't know if Ultimate Spider-Man was on PC. I know Spider-Man 3 was on PC. But Ultimate Spider-Man...
Because I played. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know why, but I feel like at some point I've talked to you about Ultimate Spider-Man, but I might be thinking about someone else. I might have talked to Steve or Soon, or maybe even Pink about Ultimate Spider-Man.
Let me look it up.
Yeah. You've not talked to me about Ultimate Spider-Man, but I have played it.
Okay, yeah, because Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, was, like... Ultimate Spider-Man was a weird example, because it was an odd game where, like, it was a lot of fun playing as Venom. Spider-Man himself was terrible to play as. And the number one reason to beat the game was so that you could get to the end where it unlocks the ability to play as Venom in free roam.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't played Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay, it was probably Steve or Soon then I talked to about it, because like the other big Spider-Man guy on the forum outside of us, Steve, and Soon is Mike, and I think Mike has only played Spider-Man 2. I think he just said on the forum that he's only played Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
So
don't go ahead.
it's probably Soon, because Soon had a tendency to pretty much buy any product with a Spider-Man name on it for a while, so it's probably him.
Oh, but yeah, so I played through 3 and Friend or Foe on PS2, and there, well, from the 2, Friend or Foe was the better, of course. But the best thing about Friend or Foe is that you can play as Blade.
Yeah, that was cool. Blade, I remember playing for that game as a little kid, and I used to be a big fan of Blade as a little kid. And pretty much the entire reason I rented that game was so that I could get through most of the game and play as Blade. And that
Yeah, I always played as Iron Fist Iron Fist or Blade.
when I was a little kid, I thought Iron Fist was super fucking lame. Because keep in mind, I was a kid of the 2000s, and what was cool during the 2000s? Hardcore guys who wear black and use swords and guns. Iron Fist was a guy in bright green, bright yellow who uses kung fu. I thought that was fucking lame.
Yeah. Like, Iron Fist was the product of the 70s, and you had Blade, who was a product of the 2000s. So, very different dynamics there. And as a 2000s kid, you definitely knew who you were going to pick over those two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Friend or Foe had the neat aspect of you could play as the villains, and I was a big fan of Sandman because I thought Sandman was the only good part of Spider-Man 3, and he very much was. So it was fun playing as Sandman, definitely.
Sandman's boss in Friend or Foe was interesting if I remember correctly, but I might be thinking of another games.
You had to fight him in, like, Egypt or something weird, didn't you?
Yeah, you had, and then he turned into like a tornado, didn't he?
He probably
Or
did that.
something like that.
He probably did that, and he probably also did the inevitable thing of just turning into a giant version of himself with hammers for hands. Because that is what Sandman...
Yes, he did that. He did that as well, I think.
Sandman does that in every single fucking adaptation that Sandman appears in. Like,
Yep.
all the puppets...
It's its final form.
It always is. It always is. And considering all the possibilities of a character like Sandman, it seems kind of lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I even have a Sandman toy that's Sandman with hammer hands. So
Yep, that's always what it goes for. I feel like with... I don't know. On one hand, like, it is lazy. On the other hand, Sandman is supposed to be kind of an idiot, so I suppose he would be unoriginal. Not as much of an idiot as Hydro Man. Hydro Man is, like, incredible how stupid he is. It's the one thing you can appreciate about Hydro Man is that he is a fucking moron. But,
yes, I'm looking at the fight, and I was thinking of another one, I think, because here he's just like throwing freaking gigantic hands at you made of sand.
that sounds about right.
But yeah, I'm certain there was a fight against Sandman where he turned into a tornado in a game that I've played. Might have been Shattered Dimensions, but I've played a bit.
I don't remember hearing about Sandman being a villain in Shattered Dimensions. But then again...
Then I'm not sure, was it 3 then, or which one was it? Bloody hell.
3 had the subway fight from the movie. I remember seeing that.
Okay, well then I don't remember, but I remember there being a Sandman fight where he was like a tornado or something.
Probably. It might have been one of his special moves when you actually got to play as him.
Maybe. I mean, Venom had spikes, so...
Yeah, I remember that. Venom would just shoot spikes off in every direction and kill anything that moved. That goofy old Spider-Man stuff. So,
yeah.
What would you say are your least favorite genres? Video game genres.
Probably walking simulators.
Oh yeah,
probably.
There we go.
Yeah, either that. Well, the thing is that I don't like art. A lot of times, like I know that there's a reason for art. I know that art is valuable, but I don't like it a lot of times.
I like it. There's bad art. There's good art. I won't make a blanket statement regarding it. Some of it I like. Some of it I don't. I guess I get why you would feel that way, but at the same time, there is the possibility you might have just not run into the right one yet. I don't know. I think
there's always that possibility.
I think walking simulators are definitely lazy from a game design perspective, but sometimes when you have a certain story you want to put in a video game, that's the only way to do it. Because as I have stated several times before, video games are heavily reliant on violence, and if you want to have a video game story that isn't reliant on violence, you got to do weird shit like walking simulators.
But yeah, so either walking simulators, which are a story thing, or MOBAs. from one absolute to the other.
Yeah. all gameplay or all story. MOBAs, I don't know. I enjoyed League of Legends when I got to try it. I wasn't very good at it. Dota was difficult as shit, difficult as balls. But Smite is a lot of fun. And Smite, I think, is a game that we ought to try on the Xbox One sometime.
I have it installed. I'm waiting for you to freaking download it because Pink's downloaded it as well.
Oh, you guys have? I never heard about that.
We told you.
You
We're
did?
waiting on you. Yes.
You had said you'd kick all our asses because you play so much with Soon.
I did, didn't I? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and go get that downloaded today. Now that I'll actually remember. But I think we could have some fun with that, definitely. It's very different from your regular MOBA because it's actually third person. You directly control your character rather than rather than the RTS style where you just tell your character general directions.
Yeah, I remember playing Smite on or not mine, but my friend's PC, because he was into MOBAs, or well, Smite at one point. And whenever he's into something, I have to try it, for whatever reason. But yeah, so that's how I got to play Far Cry 4 for a bit, before it crashed on him. That's how I got to play Smite a bit, and I liked playing as Thanatos, I think. Or who else? Like, I think I liked Thor, or whoever's ultimate is just flying into the sun and then coming down with a hammer.
There are loads of characters that do that, but Thor is the most well-known and prominent.
Yeah, so it probably was Thor then.
Probably.
So yeah, like I liked him. I liked the gameplay more than what I've seen of other MOBAs. But then at the end of the thing, it is just a MOBA, and playing a MOBA alone for me is not optimal because I hate interacting with people. I hate playing with people. I hate people. So
why are you on a podcast? I don't know. It's probably good that you like playing Assassins because I can't play Assassins for shit outside of Loki, and anyone can play Loki.
Yeah, I'll probably be a roguish character because that's my forte or whatever. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah, and
Most of the time. I mean, even in Siege, I can disappear from you too.
yeah, and Pink can definitely play Guardian because the Guardian class is both the tank and the healer, and that's both of Pink's things.
Yeah.
So, and I'll probably just end up flipping between Mage and Hunter. I'm not a very good warrior, so I don't know. But yeah, I think we'll have a lot of fun doing that, and maybe we'll end up recording it one day. Ooh, I don't know.
You cut out.
Maybe we'll end up recording it one day. Ew.
Yeah, when I'll get off my ass and actually freaking edit the freaking Siege gameplay.
Alright, let's see. Pink, your favorite genre? Let's go ahead. Move on.
This one's a tricky one because I don't really go all into one genre, and my video gaming lifespan has jumped into multiple directions. When I was little, I loved platformers because every kid starts off with Mario, and Super Mario World to this day remains in my at least top 5 favorite games of all time.
I need to go back and play that sometime.
Yeah, I still go back to it on occasion. Like, I had it on the Wii because they had that shop thing where you could get the old school retro games. Yeah, the controls were not good on that. They were far too slippery.
Oh yeah, the ports of old Nintendo games to new Nintendo consoles are always terrible. And like, I love Super Mario Brothers 3, and Super Mario Brothers 3 controls like ass on the Wii.
Like, of course it does. But you couldn't port this correctly or something?
Yeah, it's like you're playing on the ice blocks every time.
Yep. Like, if you want to speedrun Super Mario World, it's fine because you just hold down and jump on every occasion. But if you want to play it like you used to, it's kind of hard because you're just flipping everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Seems like something they'd work harder on, considering it's a platformer, and there's probably no genre more necessary of tight controls and ability to stop than a platformer.
Yep.
But
Yeah, it was not good. I was very disappointed in Nintendo. So as I progressed in age, I got into shooters because I used to play Medal of Honor all the time with my dad and my siblings. So that was, I don't know, maybe when I was 10 to 12. Then one of my favorites is one of my also least favorite genres. It's the third person action adventure type things. Because I loved Uncharted and I loved what was it? Infamous?
Well, Uncharted and Infamous, I'd say Uncharted is more of a third-person shooter. I'd say Uncharted is more of a third-person shooter in the same vein as Gears of War, with platforming elements, definitely. And I'd say that Infamous is a not a first person, a third-person shooter free roam game with heavy movement elements. I wouldn't say either of them are action adventure.
I don't know how to categorize those two, because there's also the Assassin's Creed, I don't know, genre, I guess, the series that I've played through the first tutorial and the first level of 3 Assassin's Creed games at this point, and I've never been able to stick with it because I was just can't do it. It's I don't find it particularly fun. It's beyond the first 30 minutes of play time, I'm just done with it.
Yeah, I can definitely get that. That's probably where I fit with most Assassin's Creed games now myself, because I've finished Brotherhood, and it's I've had my fun with the Assassin's Creed games. I don't need to play anymore.
Yeah. It seemed like it'd be fun for me, because I like stealth, I like action and whatnot, but I could just never get on board with that series.
No. Yeah, it's definitely got some issues, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I say as we had that recording where I spent half of the game unable to kill anyone, and then and then near the end my fucking Xbox explodes.
To be fair, that was Unity.
Yeah. So, yeah.
By the way, because Syndicate is free, well, not long from now. I guess I should let you in a trade secret. So, you see the right bumper. I think it's that button. Yeah, probably, whatever. So you see the right bumper. The right bumper is your get out of parkour free card. You will never have to parkour ever again unless you want to go on a freaking wall or house top or something. But, on that point, you can just use basic movement.
I'm fine with that because I am sick of parkour in the Assassin's Creed series. I'm sick of having to run up a building every time I want to get somewhere as an Assassin's Creed game. And I assume that's the call a coach button or something?
No, that's your Batman grappling hook button.
Oh, that's better. I like that better. Thank the good Lord. Oh, Jesus. So
I really like one thing that I don't know what category you'd put it in that I really loved was Fire Emblem on the original Game Boy Advance.
I'd say
I played
turn-based strategy RPG.
Yeah. I played that so many times, over and over again, because I enjoyed it so much. Then I got Shadow Dragons for the DS, and I hated that one. Because, I don't know, it had all the basic same elements of Fire Emblem, but it took out a lot of features that I heavily relied on. So I didn't enjoy it nearly as much, and I don't think I ever actually finished it.
Fire Emblem seems to exist in this weird place where they used to be the designated Nintendo cult classic franchise, and everybody who played an old Fire Emblem game would fucking love it. And then they got popular, and it seems like ever since they got popular, they've been steadily declining really badly.
Well, haven't they went the visual novel route? To an extent.
I think there were always visual novel elements where it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just say, Japanese video game with dialogue, therefore a visual novel. That doesn't work.
No, I mean from what I saw, it looked like there were freaking what's the bloody name? Whatever. There's this type of storytelling that I call visual novel, where either a character or characters come up on the screen and then a speech box comes up with the art.
Okay,
Of
so
them,
what you
the model of them speaking.
what you're saying is any Japanese game with dialogue is a visual novel. That is what you were saying right now.
That's the Japanese way of making dialogue.
Yes.
That's the Japanese way of doing a cutscene without making it a cutscene. Because
Oh, well,
they don't have the budget
then I
for it.
didn't know because yeah, I've only so far I've only seen it in Warriors, Orochi, and freaking visual novels. So
It's in Fire Emblem, it's in Persona, it's in pretty much all the Shin Megami Tensei games. Pretty much any Japanese RPG that comes out and isn't Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy has way too much money to blow, any of those will come out with that style of dialogue. I mean, shit, they're fucking Professor Layton and, Phoenix Wright, those games use that dialogue system. I feel like there's gotta be some Western games that use that dialogue system too. I mean, shit, you want to go back to old 90s classic PC RPGs like, Neverwinter Nights or whatever and say that they use visual novel dialogue systems? Is everything a visual novel, laddie? Life is a visual novel. Texting is a visual novel. When you text people on your phone, that's a visual novel.
Everything is different now.
War has changed.
just Monica.
All it taught me anything is that war never changes, so I don't believe you.
That's still my favorite. One of my favorite goofy gaming memes is the picture of Snake about to say war has changed, but he gets cut off by the Fallout Power Armor guy slapping him, saying war never changes.
Ron Perlman just bursts out onto the scene.
He busts through the wall like the Shockmaster. He burst through the wall like Shockmaster.
Maybe a little more elegant though.
God. I love that you can compare bursting through the wall to characters like the Nemesis from Resident Evil or the Kool-Aid Man, but we choose to compare it to the Shockmaster.
Yeah.
God. Okay, so that was a little topic. We got a little bit of discussion out of it. We'll just go ahead and hit what everyone's been doing the past couple of weeks. I'll go ahead and go first because I know Addie's going to have a big one that we should probably tie it up on. I personally have been doing a little bit of the same. I tried to record the original classic 1994 Doom, a let's play of that, and for some reason, it caused the game to slow down really badly. Like, even the music slowed down, and it turned this really upbeat shooter theme into a depressing hell sound.
Which I mean is more appropriate for Doom if you think about it.
I suppose. And then I tried to record the 2016 Doom, the Doom reboot. I was recording it, and it was just fine. Then when I went and actually got the recording out, for some reason the frame rate was shit. The frame rate was fine for when I was playing it, but in recording it got messed up.
Maybe it's a thing in your recording or in your recording freaking settings, because you actually have to set your frame rate in OBS, I think.
Okay, I'll do some experimenting with it, definitely. And so this coming week, hopefully I will be able to record something and get something out on my channel. Now, depending on when this releases, which will be a Saturday from now, I may be talking about this after I've recorded and released something, or I may be talking before. But either way, I will definitely in the next couple weeks be looking into recording and releasing something. Let's see, what else have I done? I've read a new comic. I read an old 86 or 87 Batman graphic novel, The Cult, it was called. Which, Addie, you've watched a Let's Play or something of Arkham Knight, correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember Deacon Blackfire in the Cult on the island?
No.
Okay, that's fine. It wasn't a memorable part of the game anyways. But it's just a little graphic novel where some cult leader called Deacon Blackfire assembles a cult of Gotham's homeless in the sewers and winds up taking over the entirety of Gotham. And it was very hilarious reading this comic because it was by Jim Starlin, and Jim Starlin is Pink would know him as the guy behind the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War sagas. And pretty much the guy who made Thanos who Thanos is.
The cosmic mastermind.
Yes, and Starlin was also the guy who killed off Jason Todd in Death in the Family. And it's very...
Technically, the fans killed him off.
Yeah, technically, I was about to say, technically the fans voted him off the island.
Yeah, technically, yeah. And
Starlin probably wanted to just as much as the fans wanted it, so...
I think Starlin was well known as one of the writers who had been deliberately sabotaging Jason Todd from day one and trying to make him as unlikable as possible. Because that was a whole thing where it turned out the Batman writers, someone like, it was Jim Starlin and probably someone like Chuck Dixon or somebody, had deliberately been trying to make Jason Todd this piece of shit that no one would like because they just liked Dick Grayson better.
Yeah. But that also sucks, though, because I wouldn't have wanted Dick Grayson to go back to Batman, because I've always felt that Nightwing was better as a solo act, and I cannot stand the fact that, 80 years after he's already become Nightwing, they're always shoving him back into Gotham with Batman and Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon. I want him to be his own standalone thing. He's outgrown the Batcave now.
As it always is with the comics, there's a great big conflict between people who want things to go back to the old days and the new days. And Spider-Man and Batman are the biggest examples of conflict there. Because Spider-Man, you get people like Joe Quesada who are like, Spider-Man needs to be young and independent and unmarried and sleeping with all kinds of women. And some people want Spider-Man to move forward as a character and, marry Mary Jane and stay with her. And Batman has a similar conflict where they're like, Barbara Gordon should be Batgirl and Dick Grayson should be Robin. But other people feel like Barbara Gordon should be Oracle and Dick Grayson should be Nightwing. So there's always that conflict.
Yeah.
And personally, I like for there to be... I feel like they should always have the characters be moving forward, but at the same time, there should be freedom to do books like, Frank Miller's Batman Year One, where if you want to write a younger Batman story, a Batman story set earlier in the timeline, then you can, and just get them to release it as a graphic novel or something,
Yeah.
Or a short off issue in the ongoing,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as always, there needs to be a balance struck, but people hate balance,
Yeah.
People are hardcore, radical, and want it to be all their way or the highway, so that's people for you. But the Cult is an awkward story, because it's kind of around that era where Batman started getting really bad into the, I'm Batman, and he's Mr. Tough and invincible. The 80s was definitely the era of Batman being very grim and dour without any self-awareness to it. And it really shows because the big finale here is the Cult has actually taken over Gotham and driven out half the population, and they're honestly killing thousands of people and crucifying them on the lampposts or hanging them on the lampposts. And this is one of the bloodiest comics I've ever seen, and the fact that it's a Batman comic that came out in 86 makes it weirder. Because, there are several parts where you see cultists fucking chopping people up with axes and mowing them down with machine guns, and it's crazy. And the big finale is Batman charges into the city in a monster truck, and Batman is covered in guns. Batman is using guns, rifles and shit, that he says they're loaded with tranquilizer darts, though, so it's cool.
Yeah.
And
as long as the gun doesn't shoot bullets, it's all fine.
Yeah, that's always a part that gets me with Batman when they're like, rubber bullets. What? That's not what it's about. Batman hates guns because it's a trauma for him, because he associates it with his parents' death.
Yeah. So yeah, Batman runs in on Gravedigger with guns and...
Yeah, with a machine gun, and he's just going through the streets, and he's shooting everybody. I don't think he was even discriminating. He was just shooting everybody with tranquilizer darts. And mentally, I'm going what if one of them is allergic? That person is dead if they are allergic to the tranquilizer. So, and it's really weird because the early parts of the story were much better. And it shows a lot of Jim Starlin's usual things, where Jim Starlin gets really philosophical and very cosmic with things. So he has a whole thing of the Deacon actually manages to successfully brainwash Batman. Which is crazy, because that's the only time Batman has ever mentally been beaten. Because while Batman is a physical man, they play up a big part of Batman is his willpower and his mental fortitude and how he can't be broken. And that was kind of strange to see a comic where he actually does get broken. But and some of the mature parts, some of the brutality with the cult, I liked, because it kind of did fit to make the cult intimidating and make it obvious why Batman needs to shut them down. So sometimes brutality has a place, sometimes it doesn't, and there are some definite parts that it was like, okay, this is unnecessary levels of blood and gore. You're not Mortal Kombat, you're Batman. Jesus Christ. I mean, if it wasn't for the monster truck and the rifles loaded with tranquilizer darts, I'd almost say it's a good Batman story. It's still an interesting Batman story, if only because it's one of the only notable Batman stories to have come out of the Jason Todd era. So, I mean, but it does have that goofy thing going on of Jason Todd is pretty much identical to Dick Grayson. Like, there is no difference. And I mean, the part I always liked about Jason Todd was that he was a more hardcore, more kind of psychopathic Robin who, like, Batman was trying to rein in, but it always felt like a futile cause because Jason Todd had bigger issues that had deeper roots than Batman could deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. It was a fun-ish comic. I'd still say it'd be interesting to read. Just, the finale is definitely not fitting for Batman. And I believe that's all I've done this week. Pink, what's up with you?
Well, my schedule at work is changing, and so now I'm going to be missing out on WrestleMania. Like,
so that's none of us.
Bummer for me.
That's none of us that are watching WrestleMania. All right.
Yep.
Tom is.
Probably.
But then Tom's...
Yeah. Tom is there live, so.
Oh, Tom is there live. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he enjoys New Orleans.
So yeah, there is exactly one person who will watch it on the forums, and none of us three on the podcast.
Well, probably Sid and Kaza, but I don't know if we can rely on their opinions too much.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 8 out of 7.
I don't know. I don't know if we should dig too much on the guys that don't even know about this podcast existing.
We'll just rag on them when they're not even here to defend themselves.
Man, fuck Kaza.
You took my thread.
You know, I didn't hear you say took my thread. I heard you say took my bread, and for a minute I imagined Pink Sparklepuff as a little orphan, and Kaza's like Scrooge or something, stealing bread from orphans. I don't know why my brain went there. But so that you got anything done in like gaming or reading or watching any movies or something?
Oh, I finally got to play as Brigitte in Overwatch.
All right, let's hear about it.
Okay, so I'm thinking she'll have a bit of a learning curve because her kit is kind of weird to me, and I wanted to readjust some of her controls, but I couldn't find any other layout that I really enjoyed. So I kind of have to leave the controls at default as they are. But I don't think she'll be as good of a healer as Lucio or Mercy will be, because she has to attack to get the area of effect healing, and her secondary power or secondary attack would be the throwing the flail out and like a roadhog hook, and it'll push the opponent backward. So that's good to use to get away from people, but it doesn't leave much for her to capitalize on, because her primary fire is a very close quarter beatdown, and if you're smacking people away from you, it doesn't help that.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely predicted she'd be very weird, because she doesn't fit into the paradigm right now, because she's kind of a tank, kind of offensive, kind of support, kind of defensive. She does whatever.
Yeah.
And whenever you have a character that does everything like that, they're inevitably not going to be great at any of it.
Yep. Like her heal ability, the other one where she throws armor packs, it seems pretty good. There have been times where I've thrown an armor pack and it doesn't reach the person in time, so I've wasted an armor pack and have to wait like 5 seconds to get it back, and the person has died on me. So
does it function in the same
really
way?
Sucks.
Does it function in the same way as Torbjorn, him throwing out his armor pack, or does it?
No, it works more like the Orb of Harmony.
Okay.
Or a Discord Orb.
Okay, that's way better, because with Torbjorn throwing out his armor, I always get cases where I throw out armor to get somebody, and they ignore it. So whenever you're playing Torbjorn, you pretty much have to just go up their ass and throw it directly into their face so that they can't dodge it.
Yeah. So far, what I've sort of figured out, or at least for the way I play, is that Brigitte works very well on payload maps when you're escorting the payload, because she can beat people off of it and she can defend it by herself. And with the area of effect healing that the payload does, you don't need to be constantly trying to keep everyone alive with your armor packs. So it's not as costly waiting on the 5-second cooldown or whatever to replenish somebody's health when they can stand on the payload and get healed that way.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine that, because she isn't like particular. She's not fast, but she's not so particularly slow as someone like Roadhog or Reinhardt, who has trouble catching up to the payload when it gets ahead of them.
Yeah.
So she probably works a lot better for that. Yeah.
Yep. Her shield bash is pretty useful. I haven't quite figured out how to fully utilize it because I don't know how far it will go. So sometimes I'll go to shield bash someone and I'll just land right in front of them. And that kind of sucks.
It doesn't seem to have a great range, which is disappointing, but I mean, I guess it is.
Yeah.
It is kind of fitting into the whole thing of her being Reinhardt but weaker. So of course she doesn't have nearly the shoulder charge that he does.
Yeah. But it's very effective when you're close, and like if there's a Roadhog doing his ultimate or something like that and you're close and up behind him, you can bash him easily and it'll interrupt that, which can be a lifesaver.
But
otherwise, I'm finding that the shield bash leaves much to be desired, because it usually leaves me in a pretty vulnerable spot.
Well, I mean, like the mace poke that you pointed out earlier, I think a big part of it is also just trying to knock people off the side of the stage.
Yeah. I don't think the shield bash has any knockback, though, or at least I haven't noticed any.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, it only stuns the character. It doesn't actually knock him back.
Oh, that's interesting, because I remember when Brigitte's moveset was first announced, like, people were like, oh, this is going to be the great knockback character. This is going to be the great booping character. So it's kind of interesting. Then
that would be her secondary flail throw. You know, like the Roadhog hook, she'll throw it out, but instead of bringing the person in, it knocks them back. So it's like Lucio's boop with far superior range.
Yeah, and there, who else is it that has a pretty nice one? Oh, I forget. There's someone else who has the ability to knock people back like that, but I don't remember who.
Pharah has a knockback, and
yes, she does.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of characters that have panic moves to get out of a situation are characters like Mei, who can lock herself in the iceberg, or Reaper, who can turn intangible.
Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely seems like a character that I think would contribute a lot to the meta, and I think we were saying that from the very beginning when she was first introduced. Like, she will introduce a new tactic and a new strategy for the team lineup.
Yeah. Like, I'm really enjoying her. I'm looking forward to actually getting better with her, because as it sounds now, I'm just now starting to play as her because I waited till like everyone was done trying out the healers. And now that nobody's picking a healer anymore, I can go back and do my thing, and I don't have to do DPS anymore. I'm like the one guy in Overwatch that doesn't like DPS heroes all that much.
Yeah, definitely. Like that is always a thing that you see. Like there's always a Genji, a Widowmaker, or a Reaper, or a Hanzo on
Yep.
the team.
Genji, Reaper, Hanzo, even Soldier 76.
Like it's a whole different affair. Like I remember when I first got the free trial, not the free trial, the beta on PS4, and I started playing that. And Reaper, everybody picked Reaper. It was hilarious. I never got to try Reaper because everybody else would try Reaper. No.
They only did that because he looked so cool.
They only did that because console players are tryhards.
Yeah.
On PC, it's less that. It's more so Hanzo and Genji, definitely. Which I mean, it makes sense because on PC the mouse is generally more precise, so it makes sense for someone like Genji who, like, Genji is heavily reliant on aim, to me, because, like, Genji has very little in terms of damage dealing tools. He's got the dash, but it doesn't do too much. And his other thing is the reflect. So either he hits with those shurikens or he dies. Most of the time he dies.
Yeah. Genjis on PC are far superior, or at least I should think so, because they do have that superior aim. On console, if he reflects, it's not easy to get it to reflect back into somebody. You know, I'll see the PC plays where the Genji reflects a Widowmaker and into a headshot. But on console, it's like you click reflect and you have to kind of fight the cursor to actually aim at somebody.
Yep, you can basically only consistently reflect against Bastion.
Yep.
But with, Genji's main weapon, the Shuriken, is a highly inaccurate and a highly damaging weapon. So on console, it's near useless. On PC, it can get you tons of kills.
Yeah.
But
like on console, the Genjis basically have to be jumping up and over people, like right on top of them, so that the characters have to look around to actually find him. Because if he's right up on their heads, he's basically clipping through their head and they can't see him.
Yeah, that's usually how it is. That's usually the best Genjis are the ones that know if they can't see you, you'll probably win. If they can see you, you're dead.
Yep.
Especially because Genji always sets up behind the enemy team, and that if it's behind the entire enemy team, they will all catch on and shred him.
Yeah.
But, alright, and is that about all you've done this week?
I believe so. I can't think of anything else noteworthy.
Okay, because we were intending for this to be a shorter podcast, and we're sitting at roughly 2.5 hours, which is actually about the same length that the last one was. So we keep saying we're gonna go for shorter podcasts, and then we don't. So, Addy, let's go ahead and hit your topic because you wanted to talk about this. What have you done this past week?
Well, mainly I've been playing Watch Dogs 2 and The Witcher 3, as I've said in the last podcast, and as I've also said on the last podcast, if I was wrong, I will say that I was wrong. And I'd say that I was about 2/3 wrong. So yeah, I said that I dislike Watch Dogs 2's main character. That has not changed, even though I've played through the game. I find Marcus to be annoying at worst.
What? Here's the thing. He's a character. He's an actual character. Watch Dogs 1 guy, he was dude in trench coat, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, and
I'm not saying he's worse than Aiden. I'm just saying that I still don't like him.
What I played of Watch Dogs 2, it didn't look like he was particularly strongly emotive in anything. I'd find the big tech guy with the weird light bright face more annoying. Yeah. I mean, I get finding Watch Dogs 2 annoying because it's very much Ubisoft's attempt to appeal to the kiddies. It's kind of part of that whole thing of the man being like, "Hey kids, don't you hate the man? We sure hate the man," says the man.
Yeah. And so, you know, and the thing is that I also dislike the genuine people who act like Marcus and Wrench and things like that. So
I don't know too much about the character, but I feel like you may be wrong.
the thing is that I know I know a guy who's pretty close to Wrench. Actually, we are friends, quote unquote friends.
Oh, well, wait, is Wrench the light bright guy, or is he the main character?
He's the mask guy.
Okay, that guy I can definitely believe it, just because he's wearing a fucking light bright mask. So that's stupid, and it seems like the kind of thing where it's like he's supposed to be the quirky one, and that gets very annoying quickly.
I think they are all aside from maybe Marcus are supposed to be no. Marcus and Horatio are relatively normal. I'd say Josh, Sitara, and Wrench are supposed to be the quirky ones because Sitara is an artist, Josh has Asperger's, and Wrench is Wrench.
Mm. I'm not big on quirky characters, at least quirky characters as written by a lot of Western writers nowadays when trying to appeal to the kids. I mean, I don't know. It's
But yeah,
a whole thing. I almost led
from
into a Persona talk because I'm feeling like I want to start up another playthrough of Persona 5 this summer. But yeah, like I can see why you'd complain about those characters. I don't see much of it with Marcus. Marcus seems like very much your usual video game protagonist of I just want to help people. And the thing I do really like about Marcus is I fucking love that melee weapon he has. It's so fucking cool.
I hate it.
It's awesome. It's
I find it to be so freaking like I don't know why, but I like the baton better because I guess I can see it better. Like I can see it happening that some random ass guy from freaking backwater, I don't know, freaking Mississippi or something, I don't know, rundown towns in America.
Chicago.
But yeah, like
Chicago.
Yeah, so a guy from Chicago just takes on a trench coat and buys a baton, and I can see, he actually going out and fighting people and they're getting arrested for it. I can't see some random ass freaking guy from college making a yo-yo with a ball and using it as a weapon effectively.
It's supposed to be a homemade weapon. I actually remember that the developers did a lot of research on homemade weapons, and it's actually a very realistic homemade weapon. Because it's just a bungee cord and a tennis ball. That's all it is, and it winds up looking pretty fucking cool. Because sometimes he just beans people in the face with a tennis ball. Sometimes he uses them like nunchucks, and sometimes he just chokes people out with the bungee cord part.
But yeah, aside from that, the gameplay is fine. The gameplay is good. I like the gameplay. It's just that the story is a lot of the story is, yeah. Because there's like this mission where you have to hack into ATMs, and there are now automated ATMs in San Francisco, and you look at people through bloody cameras, and then you hack the ATMs from the cameras, and it's like okay, but the thing is, my problem with the mission is that okay, this could be good, they are fighting against the big bad millionaire people. Okay, whatever. But then there's people who I wouldn't really consider, millionaires or wealthy people that also get scammed like this. And I say scammed because the only option that you get at that point is to hack them to take away their money, for some of them anyway.
Well, firstly, you said the ATMs are automated for some reason. Aren't all ATMs automated? Isn't that what the A in ATM stands for?
I didn't describe it right. What I mean is that there's this robotic teller guy, or not guy, woman, yeah. But yeah.
Isn't that still an ATM?
I don't know. Do your ATMs talk?
Some of them probably do. I haven't run into one yet, but some of them probably do. That's probably an innovation they're looking into. I mean, because I bet they probably do for like people who are blind. That's probably a disabled services thing, a disability thing.
Okay, because the ATMs in the game, the ones that you hack, have like AI in them that talks or something like, or not actually AI, just like a voice that talks. And I found that weird because I've never seen anything that would. Or I have never seen an ATM that's actually talked, but yeah.
I mean, it's not anything I've ran into, but I don't see why it'd be weird. I mean, we've got all kinds of tech that talks now. That's just it. It makes sense to me. Now that you mention it, I'm surprised that I haven't already run into a talking ATM, because that seems like a logical innovation. I mean, doesn't it to you, Pink?
Yeah, my self-checkouts talk to me, so why wouldn't my ATM?
Yeah, the checkout machines at a grocery store, they always talk. Why wouldn't an ATM?
So yeah,
AGM is antisocial.
ASTM.
It's too busy. It's too busy counting your money.
Yeah,
You try to talk to your
but
ATM while it's counting the money. It's just like, shut up, shut up. I need to focus.
Yeah.
yeah. So my problem with that mission is that Marcus is like, okay, be, let's do justice, and then he robs people who don't really seem that all that wealthy to begin with.
I mean, the thing is, Addy, that if you steal from a bank, all the money you steal from the bank has, the bank loses the money. The people that the bank is holding the money for don't lose the money.
But
I don't know how banks in Hungary work, but if you put your money in a bank and the money gets stolen, then the bank is like legally obligated to reimburse you for it.
but then there's also this part in the mission where you delete a guy's user, and if I remember correctly, he doesn't really seem all that wealthy either. So, like, there was the celebrity guy who robbed, and I was all right with that. There was the guy who looked like a high roller in some company. I'm relatively fine with it as well. But just this random ass guy who doesn't really look all that wealthy, and then you delete his account as well, or whatever.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason or a justification. I probably would have picked up Watch Dogs 2 if it wasn't for the whole Rage Against the Machine story, because those stories don't interest me and I don't really necessarily agree with them. I don't want to get too much into it. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want this to turn into a politics podcast. But I will say that story does not interest me. I don't agree with it. But at the same time, whenever they make those kind of stories, they do go out of their way to make to make the machine evil and make it justified for the hero to fight against it. Outside of the occasion like V for Vendetta, where there's more ambiguity to it, whether or not who's worse, the anarchists or the man.
Yeah, so basically, all of my problems with the game can be summed up as that. That's what you said. It's the story first and foremost. The gameplay is good. The new mechanics that they add, or not the mechanics, or not mechanics, but the new abilities that they added, they are fine. I have only gotten into like 3 or 4 gunfights through my playthrough of the game because of the new abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, Watch Dogs, the one thing that definitely really interests me about Watch Dogs 2 is the potential, the different abilities they give you and the ways that you can solve problems. Because that's always a big plus for me with gaming, is the ability to solve problems in different ways.
Let me tell you how overpowered calling gangs on people are.
I can imagine.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that game you can fight them in melee, you can fight them in a gunfight, you can stealth your way through, you can hack the environment to get them out of your way. It has all that, so that is what interests me. And the other big thing that really interests me about what am I talking about? Watch Dogs? Entirely different things.
Watchmen 2, yes.
Rorschach would fit into Watch Dogs pretty well, though. But the thing that really interests me about Watch Dogs, I don't know if it was in the first Watch Dogs, but it's in the second Watch Dogs because I've seen it, is the fact that you can actually go for a non-lethal playthrough and do the entire game without killing a single person.
I don't think that there is a way to go through the first game without killing anyone, aside from maybe... do you count beating people up with a baton lethal?
I wouldn't count that because like when Batman beats people up with baseball bats in Arkham Knight, that's considered non-lethal. So past that point, why not?
Well, then I'd say that there's a way to do it, but it's really hard.
Okay, yeah, and I know Watch Dogs 2 though introduced a stun gun, though, a taser, so that you can still get into gunfights and still be non-lethal.
Yeah. The thing with gunfights in Watch Dogs 2, as I've said, I didn't really get into much of them, but I picked up a couple of weapons on my way. So, when at the point where I did have to actually shoot my way out of the FBI's headquarters because I couldn't call people on them, I just murdered everyone with a shotgun.
Okay, so you didn't go for the non-lethal playthrough, I take it.
No, I do not have morals, as we discussed.
Okay. I mean, I don't go for non-lethal playthroughs either, but I love supporting games that give you the choice.
Yeah, I'm fine with having good choice, and I actually tried going non-lethal at first, but then I blew up a guy with with a lethal explosion by accident. So I was like, okay.
All right. That was the definitive point Marcus lost it.
Yeah.
It broke him, and he's just like, from now on, no one is sacred.
But yeah, I'd say that you should both of you should download the demo again, because I know that you played it, Alex, and we should try it together. And then if you like it, then you can probably suffer through the main story, and even if not, then you probably get enough research points that you can get end level powerful just through online things.
I don't know, maybe we'll see. I mean, the mom and pop shops around my area are pretty good about lowering prices even on newer games, so I might be able to just find that for a good price anyways.
All right, and yeah, we can play together. Not to the story, but there are online missions. I think. I know that there's online free roam, but I am not sure if there's Unity-like missions.
I've seen bits and pieces of the multiplayer from Watch Dogs 1, and it mostly looked just pretty similar to, say, GTA 5's online multiplayer, except that you don't get to pick a character, you're all Aiden. Which is fucking dumb.
In Watch Dogs 2, you get you pick characters at the start of the game. That's how the game is introduced.
Oh, okay, that's better.
Because there's seamless multiplayer thing, but I have it turned off because I don't want to play with people I don't know.
Okay.
Because I am weird.
But and the podcast time is getting a little bit up there, so let's go ahead and move on to your talk about Witcher 3.
All right, so yeah, The Witcher 3. Geralt is definitely better than in Witcher 2. I'll give him that.
Yeah, definitely that, because the clips I've seen about Witcher 1, I've played a little bit of Witcher 1, and during that, Geralt's mostly like, I'm not exactly sure what choice I should be making here. I'm kind of pissed about all the bad things, but I also want to fuck the ladies. And then Witcher 2, Geralt just kind of does his thing. Witcher 3 plays Geralt more up as being kind of old and grizzled and cynical, but at the same time, he's more determined than ever to do good in the world. And I think that is a big factor of maybe I should go back and play Witcher 3 at some point.
Yeah, so Geralt is definitely better. I play him as a, well, I guess a good guy, I guess. I try to help people and all that, but it depends on my mood. So, if you tell me to go from this edge of the map to the other edge of the map, I'm gonna tell you to go yourself.
Go yourself?
Go do it yourself.
Okay, for a little bit it sounded like you were trying to censor yourself from saying go fuck yourself.
No, I would just say F then. Because,
How am I the only one here that curses?
I have taken out, I tried to curse, but as freaking was the antonym too much?
As little as possible.
Yeah, as little as much bloody hell, as little as possible. I try to curse as little as possible. So anything bigger than S and shit, I don't. Like I could. There's in Hungarian I couldn't even if I tried. Because I've tried. It's just a thing that I don't know. Well, in English I could probably curse like a sailor, but I try not to because yeah.
Me personally, I stop at slurs. Other than that one time I accidentally used one while talking about Chris Benoit fans last episode. Whoopsie doodles. But I definitely say fuck a lot. Which is funny because about 2 or 3 years ago I adamantly insisted I'd stop there, but then I got old, and then I got old semi, I guess if 19 counts as old. And I stopped.
Yeah, you've got one foot in the grave.
Yeah, halfway there. Midlife crisis.
I mean,
here.
by medieval standard, he's lived a full life.
Yeah, all right.
Yep, time for you to go. You've overstayed your welcome, and I'm like already dead. So
you've already got the plague.
Yeah.
You're
Just a corpse over here.
you're sitting in a bed and your arm and left leg have fallen off. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be like old grizzled knight, I guess, in medieval times. Back in my day, we used to be.
But yeah, Witcher 3. So I like how big the maps are. I don't like going through them because I hate exploring, but I like how I do give them credit. They did make a big game, and the game also looks really good. So there's that. The combat is much better than with The Witcher 2. So there's that as well. It's not like I wouldn't say that other games should follow it, which is what it seems like the gaming industry took The Witcher 3's fighting mechanic as, because it's not that good, but it's pretty good, I'd say. I'll still take Batman Arkham / freaking Assassin's Creed cinematic fighting over it, but
Yeah, for me with melee fights, it's always either the Arkham system. I think the Arkham system, though, because it's still young, it has a lot of improvements that need to be made. Particularly because one-on-one fights in the Arkham system are still just about impossible to make good, you know? Because I mean, you can see that anytime you have to fight Joker in those games, and you knock Joker out with one punch, like, well, shit. And the other one I'd go to, I'd say the Yakuza system is really good, and the way Yakuza system works, where you try to build up and do big moves for big damage, and it works better for one-on-one fights, but at the same time it isn't as fluid or easy to pick up as in the Arkham system.
yeah, so we need a mix of the two.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think that maybe
Which-
get Arkham's
Yeah.
fluidity and smoothness and its counter system, because I really like the Arkham counter system, but implement a super move system or a better... Because right now Arkham does have super moves in melee, but they revolve around how big of a combo you can build without getting interrupted. And that, maybe to me, it just doesn't feel quite right. They should go with what Yakuza does, having a proper super meter. I feel like that'd be a good change.
Didn't Mad Max have a similar thing where it had a super meter like stuff?
Yes, it did, but it ran into the big issue of you didn't get to choose when it went off. In Yakuza, there's a certain button you press to enter super mode to do super moves. Mad Max, it just goes off whenever the meter reaches its max. So it'd get annoying to kill every enemy on screen. There'd be one guy left at half health, and that's when super mode activates.
Yeah, so basically make Mad Max but with a button.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's probably... Yeah, Mad Max had a pretty good system.
Yeah, Mad Max is a good game.
Yeah, conveniently it's on PS Plus, so go fucking play it, nerds. But...
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think that there's definitely something to be learned there. But with Witcher 3, let's see. The number one thing, it's going to be strange to say this, there is one big reason that I want to play through Witcher 3. And I keep saying I want to play through Witcher 3. I have a copy of it right here, right next to me. I'm looking at it, and I'm not playing through it. But there's one big reason I want to play Witcher 3, and it's dynamic beard growth.
There's dynamic beard growth.
Yes,
I need to play this game.
How much time do I need until I have a Viking beard? Because I already have the Viking hair.
I don't know how quickly Geralt's beard grows, but with the passage of time in game, with the passage of days, Geralt's beard will actually grow. And if you find barbers, they can trim it in specific ways, and then from that specific way you've had it trimmed, it will continue to grow.
Does this affect hair as well?
I don't think it does, but I might be wrong.
Okay, because as I've said, I have a thing in The Witcher where the first time I always change Geralt's hair into the RVD hair that he can get, because it's the closest thing to something that I like is.
Oh, he can get his hairstyle changed, can't he? I definitely remember seeing that in Witcher 2, where some people would have the long manes, but some people would have the shaved sides.
Yeah, so I have the shaved sides with the thing on top into the ponytail, which is what I call the RVD hair, because he's the only person who lives that I've seen have that. Well, it doesn't look good, but it is.
It's garbage.
Come to Oregon.
It's garbage because when you think about it, it's just a mullet with a ponytail. It really is just a mullet with the back put into a ponytail, and that's what makes it horrible.
Yeah. But it's the only thing that I like in The Witcher 3 and The Witcher 2, because in 3 I don't remember 2's hairstyles, but in 3 I've looked all of them up with pictures, and all of them are like, now I have my hair out, now I have my hair out, but it's shorter. Now I have my hair out to a point, but at a point I put on a ponytail on it, and then it's like, okay, then now I have a ponytail. And that's like the one that I use, the RVD hair, is like the one that's not long or just a ponytail.
Okay. So, I mean, it's good to hear that you're enjoying it more than you thought you would, and that's probably a good marker for me to go ahead and play through it sometime, probably in the coming months, because summer vacation is coming up and I won't have college to contend with.
Yeah, so basically my summary of The Witcher 3 right now is I'm in Novigrad. So yeah, I'm on the second map in the big city.
Oh, there are 2 maps?
There's like 5.
Oh, shit, because I saw, like, the first map in the game, and I was like, wow, this is a big-ish map. I mean, it's kind of small to be the whole game's map, but it's big-ish.
After that, you go to the world map, and there's like 5 or so places that you can go. I didn't actually count them, but
Shit.
yeah, there's like, I don't know how many times that big maps.
Sheesh. Alright. I'll have to look
Yeah,
into that,
so-
yeah. That's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
so my summary of The Witcher 3 is that it's not the greatest game of all time. I still give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of work put into it. I mean, as big of a free roam game as it is, and to have the RPG-esque, like Dragon Age-esque elements that it does, and of course the vast amount of free content that they added to the game over the course of its lifetime.
Yeah, by the way, okay, never mind, because you already own it, but yeah. Pink and whatever, yeah, just pink, because by the time this goes out, that will be done. But until the 10th, you can actually buy the complete edition, which is what I have, for like $30.
I,
And that comes with all of the DLC and all that.
I don't know if the beard growth has me that excited for it.
Yeah, I'd wait until it gets cheaper, because I personally got the game at like $10, and I didn't get the complete edition, but I mean, if I like the game enough, then I'll buy the DLC, you know?
Yeah. On top of that, I've got plenty of stuff of my own that I have yet to finish anyway, so I don't feel like adding something new on top of that pile.
Then pay me money monthly.
Oh yeah, I'll pay you
It
money
won't-
monthly. That'll be
It won't
perfect.
go to waste.
God. Jesus
Uh.
Christ, Daddy. But we are sitting comfortably at 2 hours and 50 minutes, so assuming that Addy doesn't have any other big points to make about Witcher, we should probably tie things up.
Well, I just wanted to mention how much I hate the horse riding. But other than that, yeah, no.
Yeah, horse.
Wrap it up.
Yeah?
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. All right. See you folks later. Bye.
Bye.